Hey, this is Paul.
And Wayne.
From the Countdown Movie and TV Reviews podcast.
Folks, did you know that the movie Total Recall was absolutely a dream?
What?
Definitely
It was
was
absolutely
not.
a dream, man. What the heck?
That is ridiculous.
No, it's as well known, but you know what? If you want to hear arguments like this about movies, tune into the show.
We do a countdown every week of a movie or TV related topic.
And also movie reviews.
You're mocking me, aren't you?
No, I'm not, and we should stop using that stupid-ass soundboard.
How dare you? Well, there it is. Check us out on all your favorite podcatchers.
Google us, we're everywhere.
So not a dream.
Hey there, this is John from Pint Comics.
And I'm Lloyd, also from Pint Comics.
And I'm the other John, and you get it by now. As you may know, we sometimes use language on this show that can be described as
Filthy.
Okay.
reprehensible,
Crude.
Sure.
nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, guys. We all know that it's just plain out gutter talk.
You've been warned. Listen in.
Welcome to the Pint Movie Invitational Series.
R2, get us off this autopilot. It's gonna get us both killed. You did it, R2. Okay, let's go left. Go back? Qui-Gon told me to stay in this cockpit, so that's what I'm gonna do.
All right. Oh, I got some on the...
That was all right.
I got some on the,
We've
the
had
thing
better.
there. We've had better. That's okay.
Yeah.
I almost pulled my fingernail off on that one, too.
Yeah, it's rough.
All right, you're back to another episode of Pint Comics. The Manster is over there staring at me with
Right
those
here.
steel... What color are your eyes? I don't think I've ever really looked. Are they
My
brown?
eyes are brown.
Brown?
It's
Yeah.
just brown.
Yeah, just brown. Not even like a hazel. Straight up brown.
Straight up brown, a little
Yeah.
black around the edges.
Little black flecks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
I think
that's
that's what I'm noticing.
Yep.
I think that's what's sucking me into your solar system. All right.
I've been told.
I am Ganache here. We're hanging out again for part 2 of what we're dubbing Forgotten Cinema February.
That's it.
For the first 2 weeks of February, or second 2 weeks, depends on when I put it out. But 2 weeks in a row in February, you are going to get a whole lot more Mike Butler.
We
and
got
a whole lot
29
more-
days this year in February.
Is this a leap?
Yes, it is.
Is this a leap? So you're going to get some Mike Field on Leap Day, maybe.
Maybe.
Nice.
Guys, what's going on, man?
How you doing?
Doing well.
How you doing? You're back again.
Yes.
You decided to come back.
Yeah,
after
thanks for coming back.
after your experience. After your experience talking about a Field brought Midnight Madness for the Pint Movie Invitational.
That's right. You're welcome.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it. We'll get to Butler's choice in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
And Butler's choice may have a couple reactions. I'm pretty sure Butler or Field here. Reaction has not been too cool about it.
Nope.
That's okay. And you know what's funny about it is we did our episode not too long ago with Andrew Morgan from the Nomcast, voice of the Pint Movie Invitational, our top 5 movies of 1999. And in that we asked for you guys to, we asked both of you guys to give us your list. We read them off. This was on yours.
Yes.
Right.
And in 2019, I had suggested to John and Lloyd, the co-hosts here, John is off tonight, that we should do a 20-year retrospective on this movie. And we were going to, and 2019 ran out.
Right.
So for its 21st birthday, in
So
time,
here we go.
In time for it to be able
And
to
that
drink,
movie did not appear on any of our lists.
It did not. It did not. And out of
Butler's.
all the people we talked to, it only appeared on Butler's list.
Yeah. The only one.
Which is kind of surprising because
I was surprised.
one way or another, this was a very big movie. Now, you people are out there going, 99, big movie, nobody liked it. Holy shit, it's the Phantom Menace. Holy shit, they're going to talk about the Phantom Menace. And you're either very excited or you're shutting us off right now and finding a brand new favorite podcast.
No. I'm going to shit all over it. Don't go.
Don't go.
I believe you guys picked these films to spite each other.
Of course.
I picked it because the reaction I got was basically he apologized for me, and then I think your reaction was really, and so I was like, well, this would be a fun one to do, I guess, because when we were picking movies, it's like, do I pick a movie I really like? Because I was gonna maybe pick Casino Royale because I love that film, but I was like, No, fuck that. Phantom Menace is gonna be a lot funnier.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Like again, when we started we've been doing the movie invitational now for probably closer to the last 2 years, and the idea behind it is if we bring you on, whatever you pick, we're gonna do. Because I think that's a little bit more interesting than us picking a movie to talk about. I mean, yeah, we could do that. We could talk about Casino Royale tomorrow, and it also gives us a little bit of diversity out there. And I'm surprised at some points the picks we get. I could run them down real quick. These are the movies we've done. I wrote a list that I did not write down here. We started off with Lloyd before Lloyd was actually a co-host of the show. We did John Carpenter's The Thing. Andrew Morgan brought Memento. Christopher Nolan. Andrew's brother Jerry brought the much maligned adaptation.
Yep. That got a 0 from John. Sir John.
One of our biggest downloaded episodes. Rich Smith, the Rich Smith robot, an artist friend of ours, Blade, 1998. It's Blade.
Blade is good.
Bana, bana, bana. You don't remember all that? That's Mortal Kombat. There's another song in Blade we kept on referencing. It's a techno beat. That was Mortal Kombat. Kira, our friend Kira, brought Labyrinth, that piece of shit movie, which I didn't like.
Hey, now stop it.
David Bowie's giant trouser goblin, and then a bunch of other goblins. Right after that, we did Scary Larry Dwyer, Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Well, no, how they came out. Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, the gayest horror movie in the history of cinema.
Excellent. You know, I just heard somebody talking about that on the radio. I think it was on Sirius Radio last week, saying how that was the most they didn't realize it was a gay movie when it came out. And he said there's another movie that does the same thing, and unfortunately I can't remember
Commando.
what it was.
Commando.
It's
No,
Commando?
it wasn't Commando.
Commando is that. Commando is that.
Is it
The
another
one
one?
stuff in
And
there.
Top Gun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Top Gun.
Well, Top Gun,
Top
yeah.
Gun is like steeped in gayness.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
But when they reviewed this movie, when Nightmare 2 came out, they didn't even know. Nobody knew. Nobody who watched it knew.
No, and it's amazing because have you seen Nightmare on Elm Street 2 recently?
Recently, I because of what you said, I think I can distinguish what 2 was.
Yeah.
Because they're all melded together. Because I watched them all in like a 1 week span. I know what 2 is.
Yeah.
Because of the gayness.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
It's beautiful.
It is. It's a beautiful movie. It was fun. It was fun to talk about.
I like 2.
It's good.
Yeah.
3's great.
3 is great too, but 2 is a fun one, and 1 is just incredible.
One's a classic.
After that, we did our month. We did in June of 19. We did all 4 episodes.
We did a whole month of them. Yeah.
We did Heathers with Neil Damiano, film critic. Oh, Everybody Wants Some with Chad Dizzle-Davis. Still one of my favorites. That's a great movie.
The 80s Dazed and Confused.
Yes, the 80s Dazed and Confused. Which again, that's a good forgotten cinema one because I think
Dazed and Confused.
No, Everybody Wants Some. I know it's newer, but man, that movie is good. When we put that episode out, the downloads were so fewer than everything else because I don't think anybody knew what it was.
But such a fun movie.
Such a fun movie. And then we did Escape from New York with Chris Bodette from Jamie Josta's band. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with Chris Frodell, our buddy from Arguing with Myself. And then we did Mad Max.
Boy, you remember
I wrote them down earlier today, yeah. We did Mad Max with G.I. Gary. Then after Mad Max, we went back to... we did Gleaming the Cube.
Gleaming the Cube! You've never seen that, Butler.
You need to see that.
It's so bad.
You need to see that.
That's a great
Sean
review.
McLaughlin.
Sean McLaughlin from HorrorNewsNetwork.net. And the funny thing about Gleaming the Cube was out of all these movies I've talked about, which some of them you could really Escape from New York, The Thing. These are some popular movies. Out of all the ones that when I put them out and I would put out like little blurbs that these are coming out, that was the one most people were like, when is that fucking coming out? I'm like, what, like you're dying on the Gleaming the Cube hill? That's the one you want? People wanted to see it, Gleaming the Cube. And then we went back to Andrew one more time.
Yep.
First Blood, which was a lot of fun. And the last one we did before Midnight Madness with Field was my pick, Ravenous, the 1999 weirdo Wendigo vampire.
So you're not sliding the other one in there? That doesn't count.
Which one?
The Star Wars special.
That wasn't a movie.
That's not a movie.
That was our holiday special, and I don't want to talk about that episode ever again. You guys have never seen the Star Wars holiday special. I don't know if you have.
I've seen bits and pieces. I've never seen the entire thing.
Never see the entire thing. Oh. Good choice.
But what about Wookiee Life Day?
No.
God, it's like getting beat in the face with a pillow filled with, I don't know, like
Baby Yodas?
Baby Yodas, yeah. Terrible. Before we get to the Phantom Menace and before we talk about why you chose it, Mike.
Yes.
On the last episode, here's a callback. You kind of mentioned real quick, and I think it was in terms of having to suck Mike's dick to get a role in his movie.
Yes.
Because we determined you were an actor. You never did suck it. Let me clarify.
I never did suck his dick.
Let me clarify that. Mike Fields said that if he ever made a big budget movie, the movie that Mike Butler was making fun of, we all know he would suck his dick
he would try.
I talk about it all the time. Like, I will ride his coattails all day. I do whatever it takes.
That's fine.
That's the dream, is to ride his coattails.
So just to be clear, no dick sucking there.
No.
Because you're an actor, so what type of are you a stage actor, or have you been in film? Have you been TV? What have you been doing?
I have been in different short films and web series. I was trained on stage at Hofstra University as a drama major, so I did Shakespeare, mainly Shakespeare, dramatic roles, but then I've also done comedy roles, and it's basically what I've done since college is a lot of comedy.
Okay.
But I think that's mostly because they don't know that I could do drama, kind of a thing, and it's just comedy's more accessible, more out there. That's what a lot of people are looking for in terms of like actors, especially with like indie stuff and
More people on
going out there.
digital do
Right.
comedy,
Do
yeah.
comedy. So it's just I've done a lot of comedy since college, but I'd love to do another drama. But I have done. We did Puzzle Maker's Son with Mike Field, which was a drama.
Yeah. Mystery.
What was it again?
Puzzle Maker's Son. It actually got Field into the Writers Guild of America.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm a guild member. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And what? So this was called what again? One more time.
It was a web series called The Puzzle Maker's Son. It's out. It's a 10-episode series where I play the lead, where my father dies, and days after the funeral, I get a letter from him, and I have to unravel this mystery in terms of.
Is this Midnight Matt? Is this?
Nah, it is not a comedy.
All right. Okay.
There's some serious acting going on in this.
Where can I find you being a thespian?
This is
lesbian?
actually, you know what?
You can find it on YouTube.
The best, but the best spot to do it is just go to michaeldfield.com. That's my website,
Okay.
and everything's there. Just go to click on the videos, and you'll see all the stuff
Nice
I've done.
plug.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna check it out.
You like that?
I'm gonna check it
like
out. I'm nervous about seeing you the next time because if it's terrible,
It'll be
then
terrible.
it's one of those things where I'm like, fuck, I gotta
I
see
can't
those
even look this guy in the eye anymore.
The story's good. He's not great.
Hold on. Listen, I'm not awful.
I'm joking.
I'm serviceable.
I'm joking. It's good. It's good.
I like the fact that even you don't like try to go like I was pretty good in that. You're like I am serviceable.
I know that I'm better behind the camera in terms of writing and directing, and I can't. The problem is with acting is that would need to be the only thing I do. I can't direct, act, and write and produce the whole thing.
Right, you should have said anybody could do it and pointed at him.
Oh yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
But no, Mike is a much better actor than I am. Absolutely.
Aww.
Yeah.
Well, he pretends to be your friend.
He's just saying that.
Oh, zing.
All right. So why did you bring the Phantom Menace to us? What is
this atrocity?
What is your reasoning behind it?
A double-bladed reasoning. So I mentioned earlier we put out the top 5 list for 1999.
Yep.
And I put it on my list. And I thought it would be fun because everyone was crapping on me. I was like, at least it'll be fun. We'll go over it. We'll have a couple of laughs.
Right.
And I can't defend this movie for the parts that are bad. I can't tell you it's a good movie, and I can tell you that the parts that everybody hates are terrible. But I watched it at 11 turning 12. It was on my 12th birthday I watched this. So I'm a young kid, and it's Star Wars is a movie for kids. It's a children's movie. And anybody who says otherwise is completely wrong and just grew up with it and go, no, it's for me. It's not.
Can I tell you one reason though, like why it's kind of hard to fight the Star Wars for children fight? Because I do agree with you.
I don't fight it. I just say I agree that it's for children, but I don't ever.
I'd like to counter that.
I'd
like to counter that argument when we are having.
Well, I'm gonna counter it right by this, and I do agree with you to a point, but this is where it kind of takes away. Turmoil has engulfed the Galactic Republic.
Right. I know where you're going.
Children love tax law.
The taxation of trade routes to outlying star systems is in dispute.
yeah.
So already kids' nipples are getting hard all over the universe.
It's like Back to the Future all over again.
I was reading my state law. I'm like, ooh, what's that percentage rate? Ooh.
Hoping to resolve the matter with a blockade of deadly battleships. We talked about this on, I think, the Star Wars Life Day episode.
Yeah.
How the
there was
Empire
blockades.
and Trade Federation, their whole strategy is blockades with everything.
Yep.
That's it. Of deadly battleships. The greedy Trade Federation has stopped shipping to the small planet of Naboo. While the Congress of the... I mean, literally.
exactly.
While the Congress of the Republic endlessly debates the alarming chain of events, the Supreme Chancellor has secretly dispatched 2 Jedi Knights, the Guardians of Peace and Justice in the Galaxy, to settle the conflict.
I feel like when this scroll happens, like obviously when this movie came out, everyone's like, yeah, and it goes, and everything's like, yeah, and then as they're reading, like, yeah, what?
Yeah.
What? What's going on? I don't know. I'm lost.
Essentially, we have landed in C-SPAN in a galaxy far, far away, right? This is where we end up. And again, the rest of this movie except for the plot that it's wrapped up in, is very much kid-like. You know, there's the pod racing. The main character, one of the main characters, is a kid.
It is one of the most children-centric ones, but I feel like he's now trying to gain a new generation. Like, I watched it when I was a kid, but a lot of my friends didn't give a shit about Star Wars because it was like, that's a 70s thing. And it's like, well, then now George Lucas is trying to get it back, which, to his credit, he did with pod racing and the spin-off stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
The action figures, like, he knows what he's doing in terms of marketing. He's like, I'm going to get those fucking kids.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what, he got me. He got me because I was in high school when The Return of the Jedi came out. So that was actually the first one I saw in the movie theater. And then, it was a long wait until the next one. And I was totally psyched when this was coming out. And I bought every freaking toy. I mean, you can see some on the table here. You know, I'm married. I'm 33 years old or something like that. And I was all over it.
My mother stood out line in Toys R Us to get me the action figures, but then she bought doubles of the action figures because she's like, "You're gonna open these up and play with them, and these are the ones we're gonna box, and I'm gonna sell these shits."
And I did all that, and I sold it all, the whole fucking thing for like $200, including old Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, well, you make that mistake a lot.
Yeah, I do it a lot.
You're like an anti-hoarder. But you also
I hoard and then I sell it. Like I got to get rid of this stuff,
and then you regret it. I don't understand your
hoard,
process.
sell, regret.
Yeah,
that's my life.
So I mean, for me personally, I can remember. So I was 25 when this came out, or 24, and I remember I worked retail then too. I remember going to the theater after work in North Haven, Connecticut. Going to the theater, buying my ticket for like 2 weeks, the Friday 2 weeks later. So this is a funny story. So Friday 2 weeks later, I take the day off. I asked for the day off. I asked for May 19th, 1999 off so I can go see Phantom Menace. First showing, whatever it is, noon. I pull into the parking lot, and this is more common nowadays, but it's a zoo. Mm-hmm. There's news crews out there. There's people dressed in stormtrooper outfits. There's people having Jedi fights. There's people dressed like Darth Maul, right? Which isn't even a
just
thing.
know from the trailers.
Right. Yeah, they're literally just watching the trailer and just painting their face and stuff. I'm by myself because my wife, I was with her at the time. She could give a shit less, and she had to work. And all my other friends didn't work retail, so they're 9-to-5ers. So I was like, fuck it. This is Star Wars 16 years later. I'm going. I get in. I get my seat. Crowded theater. This sounds like something out of a movie, and it's truly my luck. A woman walks in. Okay, African American woman in like a full kind of like African like sarong type dress. Those type dresses. Kind of a high.
Oh no, one of the high headdress things.
That's not even the worst part, dude. Wait, listen. So she takes one of the she gets in front of me. There's like one seat left.
Of course.
What is in her hand? Think of a time bomb in a movie theater. A bassinet.
Oh,
she's got a fucking
baby. She got a kid with her. Oh,
with her. God. She's by herself. I'm amazed at the whole thing. So her hat's kind of high. I can see over that. But now my mind is like, holy fuck, I waited 16 years. And now there's like an infant, which is like a time bomb. There's no way. I will say this.
You don't bring babies.
Kid didn't cry
movies.
through the whole movie.
Because it was watching the fucking pod race and Jar Jar Binks.
It was so into it.
It must have fallen asleep like I did.
No. It was really like trade law. Okay, yeah, okay. It became a lawyer.
This movie's about trade law. Yeah, that kid
became an accountant.
That kid is now an accountant and the most boring person in his neighborhood. So I mean, this is something. I mean, well, Field, were you? Now, obviously, I'm going to go with you're not a big fan of this movie.
That's right.
But were you a big enough fan? Was this something you were super psyched about at the time?
I mean, there was excitement around it. I was working at the theater when this came out, and we would watch back in the day. They don't do it as much anymore, but they would have screenings when you work in the theater, and because they put the films together, they put the prints together. You got to make sure that they were put together correctly, and it was like the worst kept secret that the screenings were always just for the projectors or the manager, but employees went. But this one was so big that they had to have the general managers from all the local theaters. Now, this was in the Milford one in Cherry Street. They had to have all the local general managers go there and verify who was a employee,
and not like someone tagging
right.
along.
And they can bring one guest, and that was it. And they all sat there at the front of the theater while we're all they're fine. Yep. And the theater was full, 200 people, and this was at midnight on the 19th. It was on midnight the 18th, so midnight the 19th. So that
It was a big thing back then.
It was. It was a huge deal, and so we all were there till about 3 a.m. watching this thing.
And were you one of the people now? And I'll fully admit. So how I feel about it now is one thing, but there was many years where I was disappointed and hurt by the Phantom Menace. Sure. But I will say this: in 1999, I went back and saw it 3 times, and my brain was like, that wasn't so bad. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
Like you're like, I can't admit that this isn't that great. You know, were you one of those guys, or were you? Because did you ever see that People versus George Lucas documentary?
Yeah.
Where there was people that were like, I went back 5 times just to hate watch it because I was so mad at it. Yeah. I wasn't that dude. I was honestly like, I lied to myself. Like, oh yeah, Phantom Menace was Attack of the Clones is where I started to like really like say okay to myself.
Sure.
And Revenge of the Sith, I knew I didn't like because I saw it once, didn't care for it. Went back with a friend who wanted to see it again, and I fell asleep. And I don't fall asleep in the theaters. Wow. I slept through half of it, and that was like solidified that like these are not my movies anymore. But you were immediately not happy with it.
Well, and I didn't like it. I'm not, but to be fair, I'm not a Star Wars guy. I'm an Indiana Jones guy. Okay. I love Indiana Jones and
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I like. Listen, this is what I like. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
All right, you can't talk anymore.
Hold on. I understand that I am biased, and I don't argue it. And people say they don't like it. I go, that's fine. I go, but I like it. But regardless of that. I had a friend who he's passed away actually 7-8 years ago now, and he was super Star Wars guy, and he was that way. He liked the movie. We watched it, and I'll give you. We watched Attack of the Clones, and the scene where Yoda starts fighting in Attack of the Clones. I laughed. I was like, "Oh my god!" And my friend turns to me, and he's just like, "Fuck you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, all right, calm down, calm down." So
I've been waiting my whole life for this.
No, so like I'm not a Star Wars guy. It was fine. I mean, I like Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And to the point where when I watch Empire Strikes Back, I have to watch the beginning of Return of the Jedi so I can see them rescue Han.
Right.
But then after that, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to watch the rest of it.
Okay. All right. So your baseline is not
no, not at all.
Yeah.
All right.
And I like Crystal Skull, so knock it off.
Yeah. No offense. You're fighting a losing battle.
No. Listen, I know this is not the podcast for it, but we can have that.
Man, you know what? We always do this, and I don't want to sway anybody.
That's fine.
But if you want to come back on, I'd love for you to pick that.
Sure.
Because I would love to rewatch that and actually discuss that.
I actually like King of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, Butler.
Hold on. Get a census taker.
Not as much as Field. There are parts I don't like that he likes, and I'm just like, no.
Can I be honest? I do not like that movie. I've never had a problem with him jumping in the fridge, though.
No, the fridge part's awesome because it
part is
leads to
pretty
that
cool.
amazing, beautiful shot where he's looking at the wrong time period. It's
He's
just like,
iconic.
You're out of there.
He's iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an iconic moment for that character.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
It's garbage.
Yeah.
It's not garbage. Don't listen to him.
All I've ever heard that it's garbage.
There's a scene with Shia LaBeouf swinging.
Yeah,
That is the one scene that everyone brings up and is like, he swings, and which I hate. I fucking hate that scene.
The whole entire
That is a bad scene, Mike, but the rest of the movie is good.
I'm not going to direct.
Don't defend that one
I'm not going to
scene.
direct my anger at the host here because this is their home. But I'm going to direct
bring
it at
it.
you.
It's
The
not a
whole
good scene.
entire series of Indiana Jones.
I know it's a
Shut up and let me
representation.
talk. The whole entire series of Indiana Jones is based on the serials. Is based on old serial movies from shows back in the day. That's part of that.
I get
They
that.
have that.
Why does he Tarzan yell?
Listen, I can't justify that. Plus, the fact that LaBeouf shits all over Spielberg after this movie, yeah, screw you, dude.
Oh, well, that's why he doesn't have a career for another 10 years.
Well, no,
after
now
that,
he
which is
will.
like
He
on
will
him.
now with Honey Boy, but regardless.
He earned his way back.
All right, so Crystal Skull is a hot point.
Nice.
All right, it's a hot point. All right, so
You're going to have to ban anyone else from picking that.
No, really. I will put that on reserve for Field. All right, so we get the taxation. How does this movie start? And by how does it start? Incredibly racist Asian aliens, right? I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about, John.
It starts with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon getting gassed. If you listen to Weird Al's song.
That's a great song,
it
by
is a
the
great
way.
song.
I actually watched this because in preparation for Rise of the Skywalker, I was trying to watch all of them again with my fiance, and I annoyed the shit out of her by throughout the entire movie. I would just sing the song as
as it was happening.
It lined up, and she was like, "I love this song, but can you stop?" And I was like, my Mr. Reddick, and she was just like, "Oh God."
Actually, before we start with that, Lloyd cast. We didn't do cast.
Oh, cast. Okay.
Yeah, let's do that real quick, and then we'll get
Jeez,
into the
it's a
story.
big freaking cast.
Yeah, just hit it.
All right, I'm just going to hit it pretty quick.
Hit the highlights.
All right, so you got Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yep.
Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan
That's
Kenobi.
the best part of the prequels. Does anybody disagree with
Obi-Wan?
that?
No, he's
Ewan McGregor
that was perfect cast.
as
it's great.
Obi-Wan
Absolutely
is
great.
the redeeming factor
Yes.
of these prequels.
And I'd watch the show if they did the show.
Oh, they're doing it.
Plus,
They've been-
I'll
they are
watch
doing it.
that.
They are
Yeah.
announced it, yeah.
I'll watch that.
Natalie Portman as Queen Amidala.
Senator,
Yes.
I think that you should do this and that and the other thing, Senator.
I know.
Let's go back to Naboo, Senator.
Jake Lloyd as Anakin Skywalker,
Jake
who
Lloyd
had a fucking rough life after this movie.
Super rough life. And Jake Lloyd is great in this movie for one reason. I've always said this. You can believe that he grew up to be Hayden Christensen. They are the same level of annoying and shitty acting.
Agreed.
Like, you could progress it. Okay, that is him 10 years later.
But he's only a little kid. So it's more acceptable with him.
Yeah, and the little kid aspect of him that bothers me, especially upon this rewatch, which I hadn't seen in a long time, is knowing that him and Padme Amidala are going to end up together.
Oh, there's creepy moments in this movie. It's just so
weird.
Yeah. The creepy moments
it's hard to reconcile in your mind.
The creepy moments in this movie, though, that are so weird is the fact that it's on her end.
Yeah.
Because, like, you can't blame a little kid for, are you an angel? And all that stuff. He thinks she's cute. We all had feelings of that when we were kids. But she is, like, kind of being motherly. Yeah. But then you have to, in your head, go, she's going to bone down on this kid.
Yeah. That's right.
In like 10 years, she's going to be all over it.
There's also a little bit of her sort of leading him on.
Yeah.
There is.
What is that called? What is that called? Grooming. Grooming.
Okay.
Grooming. Yeah. Well, at the end of the movie, when like at the end, she like looks to him and he's got the new Obi-Wan haircut. And she's like, "Ooh, hey!" And like she likes the haircut.
And by the way, I know we're jumping ahead, but like, so this is like the celebration of the battle they just won.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're assuming he gets the haircut to be a Padawan. How does he already have the long?
I don't know. It's
clearly Obi-Wan's fake them. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe he just takes it off and clips it on.
Fun fact: when the movie came out, you could buy the clips at Toys.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Hold on. Fun fact:
you had one.
I had a clip. No shit.
You were a Padawan.
Absolutely. You can fucking buy it and be like, oh, yeah.
Ian McDiarmid as Senator Palpatine / Darth Sidious.
Wait, that was the same dude? Oh, okay, sorry.
Spoiler.
Ahmed Best as Jar Jar Binks.
Can I say something real quick?
Jar Jar.
I want to throw this out there because I had to tell my wife this last night because she had no clue as I was watching it. I get it. Jar Jar's an annoying character, but like this dude was going to kill himself in real life at one point. Did you know this? Like this guy,
on him.
He got shit on so bad.
Yeah.
He's not even fucking. You don't know it's him. You would only know it's him if you know Ahmed Best or you saw him at a con. This guy's life was so railroaded for people hating Jar Jar Binks. And I will go on record right now on this podcast as saying Jar Jar Binks greater than Rose Tico. Like, I know people give her shit too, but like he's an annoying character, but he kind of helps to drive the plot along.
Oh yeah, he does.
She does nothing.
She railroads the plot.
She railroads the plot.
Oh,
but that's writing.
Don't get me started on
That's
Last
not her.
Jedi because I fucking hate the Last
Hold
Jedi
on.
so bad.
But now, do you think that we have this conversation a couple of times. Do you think that Phantom Menace is kind of like the beginning of the toxic fandom that happens?
If it's not the beginning, it is a huge marker.
Right.
It's a huge marker because what else was there that you waited 16 years for?
Right.
Like with bated breath. Like literally, I remember being a kid. I remember being like, let's say like 1988 and hearing before the internet and hearing rumors that he's going to start writing, oh my God.
Right.
And you had to wait another 11 years.
And you always heard like he had all 9 plotted
He has them all ready.
Yeah, right.
Ready to go.
Right.
So yeah, I do because I think that what happened was people's expectations were up to here.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you this right now too. And you're of the age, maybe you're a little too young to remember this, but people didn't shit on Return of the Jedi way back when.
No, not at all.
It was a great Star Wars movie back then.
Correct.
It suddenly became the Ewoks were a problem and all that stuff.
Right.
As toxic fandom became more prevalent.
Seriously.
I remember being a kid and boy, when I was in 4th grade, if you didn't see Return of the Jedi and think it was fucking great, you were not the normal kid.
Yeah.
And nobody said, "Oh, I hated those Ewoks. They should have been Wookiees."
Not at the time they did.
Toxic fandom fucking blows.
Well, we have this conversation constantly because we're talking about movies and we're saying like what we like and don't like in terms of like on our podcast. But we always say like, listen, everyone would give their left nut to do these movies. So don't people can have a miss, but it's like they still made a movie.
Right.
So it's like you don't have the right to like come down on them so hard when it's like they're out there doing it. They're out there putting it out there. It's like shame on you if you're going to just sit in your couch and be like, screw you guys suck. You're terrible. You're the worst person ever. You know what I mean? Like that stuff.
You haven't actually done it.
Yeah.
I've adapted I think I've adapted this as an adult, but particularly maybe in the last couple of years doing the podcast where we've been more critical as a thing, as our like little job or whatever. But like I definitely try to look at things more that way.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why I've always said like when we joke about John gave adaptation a 0, I won't ever give anything a 0 because even if it's a 1, the 1 is for the effort, is for the
so many words to put this out there.
There was something out there. Now I might have totally disliked it.
Sure.
And there are tons of movies that I totally dislike, but there's always something redeeming there.
Yep.
And yeah, I do. I totally agree. I think this movie is the launching point and it was also, like, think about it. When did the internet really hit? 96.
Yeah.
Like, this is it's like
the same time.
It's like peanut butter and chocolate.
Yeah.
Except it's two shitty tastes that
It's like they were given a pass,
Right.
To like, okay, you know what? Now you can shit on anybody you want.
Right.
Here you go.
I watched the documentary on Toxic Fandom, and it actually, like, Phantom Menace was a big part, but it actually started with the X-Files.
Really?
Because there were so many. X-Files was the first big forum thing where everyone had a forum for the X-Files or a
that's
talk
true.
thing about the X-Files. And they would all shit on, like, oh, now it's going to be this, and their predictions. And then when they didn't pan out, they would just start shitting on the episodes
I
and the
hate
writers
that.
and go on
Yeah.
from
I
that. and
hate
start,
that. Like, it's not
hate
your-
spanning the
yeah,
writers.
exactly.
And it would keep going from that.
It's like, listen, they're not there to make what you want to make.
So we talked about like Game of
right.
Thrones. Everybody hated the last season of Game of Thrones. It's like, that's not your story.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like, okay, you can disagree with it, but then to like send hate mail to like the creators of the
Yeah.
show and stuff. It's like,
Yeah,
because
no,
you disagreed with it.
Toxic Fandom, I'm actually even okay with Toxic Fandom in terms of if you keep it, like if you're the guy that spews it to everybody, fine, that's fine. Just keep it that way. But when you start to write letters and shit,
That's tough.
yeah, let's meet a girl, do something.
Yeah, give it up.
It's the 2000s. Meet a guy, whatever. Who cares, or vice versa. But yeah, you're totally right about that. This movie definitely launched a sea of angry people, for sure. All right, Lloyd, who else do we have on this?
All right, now we got Anthony Daniels as the voice of C-3PO.
Always,
since he was not, C-3PO was not the golden robot that you
Is the
know.
only of the Star Wars movies of the 9 that he appeared in, right? He wasn't in Rogue One, or was he in Solo at all? No.
No.
Right?
No, not so.
It's the only one where
Oh no,
Anthony Daniels-
he is in Solo in the background when they're going through the hangar of Yavin.
Okay. So maybe
Wow,
not,
we pulled that one out.
Hold on, let me adjust the glasses. I don't have them.
The only guy not wearing glasses at the table is the biggest nerd.
The nerdiest one.
Because we're all older than them.
we all
Yeah,
knew
give it
that.
another couple of years when your cones and rods aren't working.
It's science.
The rod still works, man.
This is the only one that he did not physically portray.
Right.
C-3PO. It was a
He's
puppeteer.
puppeteer, yep.
Yeah.
But isn't like in the new ones, don't they just pop in the costume once and then that's it? They get out.
It might
Sure,
be, but,
good enough.
but still technically he's in it at one point. He was never in it at this one at all.
And then you got Kenny Baker as R2-D2.
Yep.
Pernilla August as Shmi Skywalker.
Yes, Swedish actress.
Yes, the mother of Anakin. Frank Oz as the voice of Yoda, who in the original movie was portrayed mostly as a puppet, but then they switched it over to all digital.
I own this on a DVD. I don't own the Blu-ray. I own it on a DVD from way back when. And in my back room, I have a mess right now, and I have something in the way of my DVD rack that I don't want to lift. It's a big fucking thing. So I watched it on Disney Plus, and that was one of the most glaring issues I had with it. Was I prefer the puppet.
Oh,
the
God,
puppet's
yeah.
so
Oh,
much better.
absolutely.
I watched the version, which I guess is the more current version from the Blu-rays.
Right.
Which,
If you have a Blu-ray, it's digital.
yeah,
There's no puppet.
and the digital just doesn't look great.
Nope.
The puppet is just better. Period.
The puppet in Phantom Menace has always been digital. They put the puppet in 2 and 3 for a couple scenes because people fucking hated that it was all digital for Phantom.
Ooh.
I thought the puppet in the original Phantom was digital.
They went all digital with him, and people fucking hate.
I thought that there was a version with the puppet in it.
There's Yaddle. Yaddle was a puppet.
Oh, okay. There's definitely a
Well,
difference.
no,
though.
from what I read, the
Yeah,
puppet
oh,
was
you know what, maybe sitting
in
on
the,
the seat,
in
maybe.
the theatrical release.
From Attack of the Clones on, it was
Yeah.
Right, you might be
CGI.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The original Phantom Menace was a puppet, and
Yeah.
then when they re-released it this was re-released in 2012 in that 3D version when he was going to do all
right.
three, and then he didn't.
It'll
Yeah.
be re-released again.
Are
In
they-
4D in 2027.
Seriously?
No, I don't fucking know,
4D,
but it
you
will.
can
I don't
smell
know.
Smell Yoda's hair.
There's 8K TVs coming out. I don't know what the heck's
You
happening.
can brush
Shit.
Yoda's brow. Oh.
You could-
Tell Anakin
It's all
about hate.
nappy. Your screen's all nappy. Whoa.
all right, who else do we have?
All right, Oliver Ford Davies as
Seal
Bibble, the,
Seal Bibble,
the
who has-
governor of Naboo.
Who has the lamest line in the whole movie, and I love it. Communications disruption can mean only one thing: invasion. No, it can be on a loose wire. It can be, and then the best part is, so he says that communication disruption can mean only one thing: invasion. And then in the same scene where they haven't checked why the communications are down, they're watching the hologram. It goes out, and he says that, and then they talk a little bit, and then he says something about well, we have a total communication shutdown. It's like, You haven't even looked yet. Get on a fucking futuristic computer and check. It might just be that one phone in the room.
The hologram just goes off.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, here we go.
This is a guy
Maybe
who
he hung
jumps to
up.
the worst conclusion possible. He goes to the doctor and he's like, I've got a little lump on my skin. It's cancer, isn't it? It's like, no, it's a lump, Seal Bibble. It's okay. He's like, no, it's stage 4. He's like, no, Seal Bibble. It's a fucking pimple. Calm down. You fucking idiot. Why are you the governor of Naboo? The Naboo are such stupid people. They deserve to be taken over by those dumb droids.
Yes. All right, moving on. We got Hugh Quarshie as Captain Panaka.
Panaka.
Yeah, Queen Amidala's chief of security.
Yep.
Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu.
Perfect example of what you said before, I think, Field, with people want to be on these movies. And Samuel L. Jackson literally said on an interview somewhere, I'd love to be in a Star Wars. I'd love let Lucas know that. And George Lucas contacted him and said, here you go.
Right. But you got to be bald.
And I want a purple lightsaber.
And he wants a purple lightsaber.
Yep.
You got it.
You got it.
Of course he did.
Yep. Then you got Ray Park as Darth Maul.
Yep.
And then voiced by Peter
Serafinowicz.
Yeah.
Yep.
And finally, I'll say Terrence Stamp as Chancellor Valorum.
Did you ever read the Terrence Stamp stuff with Phantom Menace? He hated making this movie. So he gets hired to make it.
He looks like he hates making it while he's on screen.
He's got a nothing role. It's like, that's not a Terrence Stamp role.
Yeah.
Like, the guy who played Seal Bibble could have been Terrence Stamp.
Right.
So Terrence Stamp gets hired to
He
this
gets
movie.
ousted.
And you got to read this. He gets hired to do the movie, and he's supposed to do, I think, 2 days. And they ask him to stay for a third. And I don't know if Lucas or one of Lucas's people talked to him and said, could you do a third day? I don't remember all the details, but it's like, we can pay you, maybe like half scale to stay half day. And then George has a gift for you. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, whatever. I'll do it. He does it. They give him the half-day scale. They give him the gift. He opens it. It's a Star Wars stenciling set.
Oh, come on.
It's a piece of merchandise.
Oh, man.
Any chance he gets, he'll badmouth this fucking movie.
Wow.
He's like, it was a useless role. He goes, I don't even remember if he, like, a lot of actors will say, I took this because I have kids.
Yeah.
Like my kids I'm in a Star Wars movie. He didn't even say that. And plus, he was probably like 65 at the time.
His kids don't care about that.
Maybe it was a grandkid thing.
He was Zod. His kids don't need him to be in Star
Yeah,
Wars.
he was already super. He was the limey. He's already done not that they care about that. He's already done some cool stuff. But yeah, he gave him a Star Wars stencil kit. And Peter Serafinowicz, who voiced Darth Maul 4 lines or whatever.
Right.
He's known for he was
not a big talker. That guy.
He was in Space. He's the Tick in the new Amazon.
Oh, he's
Tick
the Tick?
series.
Oh, okay.
He was in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's the guy that says they're a bunch of a-holes. That guy. He I read a thing with him where he was talking about he got invited to the premiere, and his agent told him, you can go to the premiere, like even though he's like, 'cause it was a last minute thing. They thought Ray Park's voice was too high, so they said we got to dub him. So they get Serafinowicz to do it. He goes to the premiere and then finds out that he has to pay for his dinner, and it was like $1,000 a plate dinner type thing. And he's like, I'm a struggling actor. He's like, so those are the two guys.
That doesn't even pay for the role.
That doesn't, yeah. Well, no, and he's like, I got paid barely shit. It was like a voice role.
Yeah.
And yeah, you got to look those both up. It's quite funny.
Wow.
But two guys that were like, fuck the Phantom Menace, totally. All right, so that's everything we got there for.
Yeah, that's it. There's
right.
obviously more, but that's enough.
Yeah, that is enough. Keira Knightley plays the swapped out Amidala that they change every other scene.
That's right. Yeah.
Which, so part of the plot of the movie is that Amidala is Natalie Portman. She talks like this. And she has a decoy, and she changes out a lot, so that she could be Padme and kind of go undercover.
Were they supposed to be pulling the wool over our eyes at any point?
Not
during
our
that switch?
eyes. I don't think our eyes. The people in the story's eyes, but with the part I have.
So now are we to assume those people are that stupid that they don't know the difference?
Honestly, I could see with the makeup on where if you're not paying full attention.
I get it.
My problem with it was like the makeup being like, this can't be a quick switch. Like, she's got to go wash that shit off her face.
Oh, yeah.
Now she's got to spend an hour putting pancake makeup on. The lipstick that's on the top and only a little bit on the bottom. It just didn't seem like there could have been an easier way.
Well, you're talking future makeup. You have a droid come float down and just go.
Like in Wall-E? Like in Wall-E.
Exactly.
Oh, you look good, honey.
Yeah, I guess. I'm picking.
Get the droid from my makeup.
All right, Butler. So we start off. They're on the ship. They're going to talk to the horribly racist Asian aliens that George Lucas put in there. Yes. What were they? The Nemoidians?
Trade Federation.
The Nemoidians.
Trade Federation, Nemoidians, Newt Gunray, and Rune Hako. They are Jedi. You know?
Have you ever faced a Jedi before? So we will not survive.
Are you being racist now by doing
this?
That voice?
This is their voices, so I am just by proxy copying what has already been done.
So all right, so the Jedis go on there. They try to flush them out. They end up using a tear gas or like some kind of gas to knock them out.
So I mentioned to kill them and just
kill them,
get rid of them. Yeah.
Which all they had to do is hold their breath.
Well, this is one of the things I like about
Jedis are trained in holding their breath
and they do,
fighting.
and they do. He says hold your breath. This is one of the parts of the Phantom Menace I like is this scene. Because up
the
until
lightsaber
this point,
through the
up until this point, we've never seen Jedis doing Jedi shit.
Yes,
this is the first time we see a full trained Jedi. He does his best.
Luke wasn't, and Obi-Wan was old and fairly feeble by the time we get to him.
And Darth Vader's half droid.
So this is fucking super speed. Like, did we know this was going to be a thing?
I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
Why did that happen?
Is it super speed or because they're whooshing away? They're just kind of making themselves like here and there. They're just completely mind fucking everybody who's around them.
Yeah, I felt.
Yeah,
I
didn't quite get it, but it was cool.
And you were saying
they can do it like whatever they want. That's why it's like a lot of people have a problem with the Force
that's
power
why you can forgive a lot of things.
It's like you don't know they can't
because
Force
it's Star Wars.
Right, they just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, and they do it in The Mandalorian too.
Exactly, the connection with the Force, and they've done it in the video games and the comics for years.
People
are like, they can't heal people.
Are we going to get into the Mandalorian?
No.
Okay, good.
Oh, you're not a fan?
But I am. I just, if it's 5 years after Jedi, I don't understand how they've never heard of Jedi before.
Well, that's
what's this shit?
Yeah, that's been a thing because even Jar Jar Binks knew what Jedi were.
Yeah,
I know that's like further. I know that's back.
Maxi Big the Force.
So yeah, you were saying the scene with the lightsaber.
The doors close and the lightsaber goes through. I mean, that's just fantastic.
Yeah,
you're seeing that for the first time. You're like, wow.
We also realized immediately that no matter how dispatchable stormtroopers were, the battle droids are worse.
Why are they comical?
They're super comical.
Roger.
Yeah. They're super comical, and then one of my favorite bits about the whole thing is that, and we can skip ahead to this just because, at the end of the movie, when their control ship gets destroyed and they all shut down, one of their heads falls off.
Yeah,
like are they?
Yeah, they
like,
just fall right
why
apart.
Why would the head fall off? Are they flimsy? So so we do get the the Roger. Now that
and then you get those destroyer droids coming in.
Droids are cool.
Oh my god!
Why are they just not using the droidicas all the time? Because the Jedi were actually kind of like nervous about them.
Hold on, do you know how expensive droidicas are? Let me go into the taxation. All right, so you paid 6% tax on those battle droids, right?
Yeah.
For 5,000 battle droids, for 5 droidicas, it is a 20% tax increase. All right, if you went through Trade Federation law, you would know that. Let me get you some literature.
I bought the Legos for these things. They had the Lego techniques, and they actually rolled up into a ball, and you rolled them out on the table, and they opened up, and it was so wicked cool.
You sold it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Was it Wizard?
Yeah, I did.
So wizard.
It was so wizard. I bought every Lego for Phantom Menace, pretty much. I have all the pod racers. I have the Darth Maul ship.
You have a Sebulba?
I have everything.
I have the Sebulba. I have the Anakin. I'm younger, so
Yeah.
I mean,
I had a Darth Maul bank.
I was having sex.
I was married, so I was not having sex anymore.
I had a Jar Jar Binks alarm clock where you had the Jar Jar Binks was the doll, and
You used to get up.
You keep the doll on like your couch or whatever, but then you had the clock was the pod racer pit droid. All folded up, it would tell you the time, but you'd program them both, so the doll would actually talk based on what the pit droid told you to do.
Did you have to pop it in the nose?
Press the nose.
To snooze it, yeah.
A little douchebag. So yeah, the droidicas. Well, I mean, the tax difference too is they have their own shield generators.
That's
so
a lot.
I understand
right
that's
there.
not.
That's not fucking cheap.
Although the battle droids can easily walk through a shield. So
that's like Star Trek law. It's like anything going fast can penetrate it, but if you're going slow, you can walk through it.
I guess
that's just like sci-fi law at this point.
Yeah.
What? Sci-fi law?
That's a lot of sci-fi. Does like
not a thing.
A lot of sci-fi stuff has like if you're like a laser, you can, but if you're just like moving through it slowly, it's like it doesn't affect it.
We're here with Isaac Asimov here.
Hold on, guys. Let me bring up some more stuff.
It's called Butler Law.
Butler Law, yeah. All right, so we're on the ship. The Jedi end up discovering that there is an invasion force that's going to be hitting Naboo, and they stow away. They end up landing on Naboo, and this is where they meet Jar Jar Binks. Which is this one of your like major problems with this movie, or
no, it's just boring.
Yeah,
I don't get any of the Jar Jar Binks stuff. Whatever. I mean, the fact. So Butler, would you say that he's he's a goofball?
When I was a kid, I thought Jar Jar Binks
Okay,
was
but
hilarious.
now I'm talking about now.
Now he's a goofball. He's a little too. If they used him a little more sparingly, he would have
Okay,
been
but
better.
I'm talking about his character.
He's
Jar
definitely
Jar
a
Binks, the
goofball.
character.
He's there
Is
for the
he-
comic relief.
Is he? But himself. Is he a moron? Is he an idiot? Is he actually wicked smart? Like, what is he?
No, he's dumb.
And why is he a
Plus.
senator in the second movie?
Because he won the battle of Naboo.
He did not win. He's a representative
sorry.
of Naboo for no reason.
I'm not going to claim political allegiances here, but we have some fucking morons in our own government. It's like we hire them.
Yeah.
Don't make this political.
This whole movie is political.
Well, let's not forget, by the end of this movie, they make him a bomb-bad general. I mean,
yeah.
He's all part of Palpatine's secret plan to overthrow the government. Like, he knew
Here's my
right from the
my
start.
question about Palpatine. I know we're talking about Jar Jar. So he's a senator from Naboo? Like,
He's a senator representing Naboo in the
Yeah.
council.
but he's
yeah.
from the planet.
He's
right?
from Naboo originally.
Yeah, because
yes.
he says several times, like,
Yeah.
us, an hour,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a Nabooian or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll just ask him.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
He's straight out of Naboo. Crazy motherfucker named Palpatine.
Who would have figured that guy?
Crazy motherfucker named Sidious. Oh, yeah. So we meet Jar Jar Binks. He takes our Jedi friend, which this scene always gets me too, is he takes them to the underwater city where the Gungans live, and they opt to swim in full fucking robe. Like, that just seems
Yeah.
like that would be really fucking hard to do. I get that they're Jedi, but still, like, it just doesn't look comfortable in any way, shape,
How
or form.
did this underwater city go undetected for so long?
Yeah, it's a
how
good-
is it a
it's a good
secret
question.
hidden city when
It's-
it's only 5 feet away from the shore of this fucking little swamp
it's,
thing?
It's not only he says it's being a secret underground city. They go in the water. It seems like they go over a little bit of a ridge, and it's
right.
there.
Yeah. But it's-
It's
But
like you could see it if
maybe
you were
the-
fishing.
They're probably in the same lake that Supergirl lives in when she flies.
Yeah, it's definitely not that well hidden, and that's probably why the stupid battle droids end up fighting it eventually.
Well, at this point, do you find that Qui-Gon is pompous? Is arrogant a little?
He is a little like super sure of himself, which is what the council doesn't
The
like.
council
about
doesn't
him.
like it. That's why they kind of infer that that's what Obi-Wan says. Like, and you notice you're not on that because you're kind of a dick to your bosses.
Which he kind of says again to Anakin, because Anakin's the same way. He's like, if you were a little better, you'd be on the council too. Like,
Yeah.
you're just a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
wait.
So they go down. They meet Boss Nass, who was voiced by Brian Blessed, who played Prince Voltan in Flash Gordon. He was one of the Hawkmen. Apparently Gungans are like several different races, because Jar Jar Binks is like a, I don't know, bug-eyed thing, and Boss Nass is a frog, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. He spits a lot, and nobody seems to like tell him that he should stop doing that. We find out that Jar Jar has been excommunicated for being clumsy.
Yeah, right.
Meanwhile,
That's basically
too
it.
many accidents.
Too many accidents. Yet, meanwhile, as we mentioned before, by the end of this movie, he's a general, and in the next movie, he's a fucking high-ranking politician. So yeah, he is. I guess it is very. I'm gonna give you that. He is very much paralleling some of the real-world stuff we're seeing now. He's falling into shit. He goes to the underwater city, and they give the Jedi passage out. The Jedi end up going to Naboo and saving. Who do they save? They save Amidala and her close staff.
Yeah, they don't save everybody, but they save enough.
And oh, pardon me.
And what about their trek through the water when all the monsters?
Yeah, that was cool. That was like, okay, we need a 6-minute CGI scene.
Seriously,
Yeah,
that was like
exactly.
so
Yeah.
unnecessary.
There's
we
always
right.
a bigger fish.
Yeah, there's always a bigger fish. Yeah,
That'd be great. That'd be great if that line set up like the ending of the movie or something.
Oh, maybe,
but it doesn't.
Maybe
No.
George Lucas was hoping James Cameron would be watching it and going, "Oh, I can do underwater Star Wars." Oh yeah,
yeah.
that's how we got Avatar 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Oh
The
man.
Phantom Menace birthed Avatar sequels. Fuck you, Phantom Menace. Real quick, Avatar. I was talking to somebody else about this very recently, and actually, I think it might have been on the Ghost of the Stratosphere podcast. So you might hear this twice, but I'm going to bring it up. Can you think of any other movie, right, that's that big? Like, okay, at one point, for many years, the number one movie of all time, money-wise. That's set up 5 sequels that are coming out, or whatever it is. That is less in the cultural zeitgeist. Meaning, like
No.
name a great scene in Avatar. You can't. Like, name your favorite character in Avatar. You have to struggle.
I can't think of a single one.
And
I've only seen the movie once.
But that's what I'm saying is, it's this giant thing that, like, it almost seems like it's all about money, because it really didn't permeate. Like,
No.
so 10 years after Star Wars, everybody knew Han Solo. Everybody on Earth could say, I know who Princess Leia is. If I were to say tomorrow, Jake Sullivan or whatever?
Yeah, Sully. That's all I remember.
You were going to struggle to remember who I'm talking about. And then we're like, oh, he was the main character in the number one movie of all time for
I would
fucking
probably,
12
if
years.
you told me that name, I would probably say Monsters Inc.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, you're You have no fucking clue.
There's Avatar is not on my radar.
It's not on mine either.
Form.
The only things I remember for Avatar is when they're leaving and that one character, what's his name? The young, he's in Sneaky Pete.
Oh, Giovanni
Yeah,
Ribisi.
he's just standing there, and they're all like leaving, and he's just like, "Ooh."
Yeah.
And then I also remember how they have sex with their tails, and they also connect with animals
With their horses,
tails.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
stuff is just I don't understand.
There's a
that.
lot of alien staph infections and sexual transmitted diseases going on there.
It was okay. We watched it. I was like, all right, I saw it.
But I mean, have you ever thought of it in that way?
No, because Cameron forgot about it, like most indie filmmakers forget about when they make a movie. And like, oh, I'm going to come back and do another one, and you don't hear from him for 15 years. And like, oh, I didn't have any money. And like, he's off doing like underwater rescues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Looking for the fucking the Titanic over and over again.
Yeah.
All right, so they end up rescuing Amidala from the invasion forces, and then we're off to where are they going to? Where are they heading to?
They're trying to get to Kurdistan, but they get attacked. Where they need a few astromech droids to try to repair their hyperdrive, and who repairs the hyperdrive is the sole survivor of their crew, but R2 fucking D2.
Rewatching it again and not seeing it in a long time. Being an R2 fan, I hate C-3PO, always have.
Who doesn't hate
He's a
C-3PO?
douchebag.
Everybody hates
Love
C-3PO.
R2D2. The R2 scene was fucking great. I just loved it. It was one of those moments in the movie where it was a fan service moment. You see you see a character and he's right there.
He's right there.
He's right there. Lloyd's got the ship. What was that called again?
The Queen's ship.
What do they call it? They kept calling it something.
I got a name for it.
A Corsair or something.
Queen's Royal Starship. That's all I know.
Wow.
So they blow every other astromech droid off, and R2 repairs it. And I like the line by what's his name where he says that little droid did it. But then there's that really weird scene where they bring R2 in front of the Queen to like show it that like what he's just it's like if my dishwasher did a really great job.
Look at this fork,
and I
clean.
brought you guys over and said, look at this fucking motherfucker.
They're really inconsistent with how they treat droids.
Yeah.
And that's been throughout the whole saga and all the spin-off stuff is like some people treat droids like they're friends and equals, and other people treat droids like they're bullshit, and some people treat droids like they're in between, like slaves.
Yeah.
And it's like it's always different depending on like who's the writer and what the scene calls for.
Yeah.
It's also weird that they talk to droids and they communicate to droids in terms of how a human communicates to a human. Whereas now, in our life, when we talk to computers, we can do it over the Wi-Fi. You don't have to talk to your computer.
Right.
So, like when they send the holograms to the stupid little droids, the Roger dudes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is the hologram talking to? Why don't you just send the message to?
Just send a message to it.
And so that we can see the message.
I understand, but it's just weird. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
R2D2.
Also, why do they eventually have like a hologram platform that can walk with you?
Yeah,
just stand still.
The platform was used for the hologram,
and he sat on it. At one point.
So I'm wondering, like, sir, you're not supposed to sit there. No, sir. Oh, that's fine. All right.
It's like Darth Sidious doesn't really. Oh, he is sitting on a hologram platform.
And then I just imagine the Empire is trying to call in. Where am I?
Why isn't nobody answering? Papa Palpatine is sitting on it right now. Does he know he's not? Shut up! He's gonna kill you. He's gonna kill you. There's also another scene too later in the movie where it's the scene where they're in the Senate on those little
the floating
things.
Yeah.
Why are the floating things constantly moving around?
I know.
It's like, it would make you so sick. Like one of them's stationary and the other one's like it's up there.
You just want to see people in the background like, I don't know what's happening.
Just fucking pull up. I get the concept. Okay, they're all in like these rows, and then we need E6, the planet Malastare, to come out and then park in front of me. But instead they're just like, and like you can see like the fucking chancellor's getting sick looking at it.
Yeah. You almost want the chancellor
Maybe think of the Jetsons.
When she comes down and she's like no confidence, and you almost want the chancellor to be like, I don't need you. You could do that up there. I don't need you in front of me telling me that.
Just fucking stay right there. All right, just stay there. If you pay attention, you do see at one point ETs.
Oh
yeah.
Making them an official part of the George Lucas universe.
Well, get ready because they're going to be an official part of the MCU universe.
I'm okay with that.
Is that true?
Well, no, but I'm saying because Kevin Feige's taken over the reins.
Yeah, Samuel
Star
Jackson
Wars,
clapping hands at the end of the credits. At the end of like an ET going, "You were a great alien for your planet. Would you like to be a great alien for your country? Join my initiative, the Avengers."
And then they're like, "You look like Mace. You look like me." Shut up. I'm not Mace.
Yeah, no, that ain't me.
Jedi.
Okay, enough.
Maybe he's got the Force. Maybe that's the Force.
Maybe.
He healed Elliot, right?
He brought the
that
frogs
was the
back to
Force.
life.
Well, the only way to find out is to obviously take some blood sample from him and see if he has
Check the
midichlorians.
midichlorians.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
I got to
that.
use my Gillette razor to make sure I scan it
I
first.
saw that.
It is a Gillette razor.
It
is a ladies' Gillette razor that Qui-Gon uses as a communicator, which is really funny because if I remember correctly, he's talking on it, but is Obi-Wan using one back, or is he just talking to him like
He's using the ship. Oh, no,
the
he's using the
comms?
ship like little
Okay.
ship comm.
All right. So we end up on Tatooine
Yes.
after that, and that's where we meet Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader for all of you out there. He's a little dickhead like 9-year-old. He is a slave to a Jewish flying bug named Watto.
Watto, yeah.
We're doing it again. Man, George Lucas, I mean, again, 20 years ago.
So
I
what do
don't
we
know.
got so far? Do we want to go over all
We
those
essentially have-
stereotypes?
Asian.
So you have the Asian,
We have Rastafarian and or Caribbean
Yeah.
are all the Gungans.
and then you got Boss Nass,
and
who's
that-
kind of like African,
Yeah, he's kind of got something like that.
like native African tribe or something.
Yeah, and then we end up with
Watto?
Watto, who appears to be that stereotype. I
Do you think he's doing that to subconsciously, or do you think he's doing that purposely to not in a nefarious way, but to just kind of like create the illusion of diversity?
Yeah, I don't
I think
I don't
so.
I think that's what he's always
He
done.
totally
just splits it up like
discredits
that.
any
Yeah.
claim to that.
I
but-
don't think it's nefarious. I don't think he's saying
It's not from a bad place.
Asians are
Right.
bad people. I don't think he's doing any of that. I do think, though, the Watto thing's a little weird. Because Watto, this is so delicate, but Watto is supposed to be this stingy dealer guy.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he takes these connotations that are way closer and throws them together. Not necessarily true, but like he puts them together.
Yeah.
But, you know, Watto, I kind of like as a character. I love the fact that, you know, when Qui-Gon tries to use the mind trick.
I love that.
He's
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
no,
that's
you
great.
don't get it. I'm a Toydarian. It doesn't have to work on me, dickhead.
Oh, it sounds like Adam Sandler from Uncut Gems. Okay.
Only credits.
Yeah, and we find out that Republican. We find out in this one more so than we did, I think, even in Star Wars, that like the Republic. You kind of think in Star Wars that like Mos Eisley might be like, this is like, don't hang out in this place. Like the Republic doesn't go here. They pretty much make it pretty clear that Tatooine is like
The whole planet,
outer
yeah.
rim, whole planet is not, you know.
Don't come here.
Don't come here. Because this is one of my problems with this movie. At this point, is we spend an incredible amount of time trying to get the money to fix the ship. Like Qui-Gon's patience levels are way higher than mine would ever be, because I know that he has codes and everything, so he's not willing to steal the shit he needs, which he could probably do. He could just lift it up with his hand, send it out to the desert. But he's willing to pimp a kid out to race for him in this incredibly dangerous race. I don't know. How did you feel about that? What were your thoughts?
I always thought that Qui-Gon kind of knew once he got the kid. Like, once he met the kid and then once he met the kid again, it was just kind of like, all right, there's something about you. I got to test you. Less about using him to get the ship, but more like, are you the person I'm looking for?
Right.
And it's like, all right, this pod race is the test to see if you're the person I'm thinking of. Screw the Queen, screw Naboo. This is bigger. I got bigger fish to fry because I'm like almost a zealot. Like, I believe in this prophecy, which no one else believes in. He's almost like super religious about it, whereas even Mace Windu and Yoda are like, calm the hell down. Like, this isn't...
So you think at this point his
Yeah.
priority isn't even on the mission anymore?
It's getting
on
the chosen
Anakin.
one, yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I agree with that.
That makes sense, and I
Yeah.
never really looked at it that way.
And he stole his DNA without his consent.
yeah.
You know, that was nasty.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Midichlorians, what the fuck's that all about? Like,
That's his way of explaining the
I don't.
Force.
I don't hate
Yeah.
the midichlorians. It's
You don't
just
hate
like-
it because
it's just
you
an added-
understand it,
It's
but
just an added level. To
Why?
it. It's not
Why?
necessarily- He
Why
doesn't need
explain
it.
the Force?
You don't need it.
Why?
I agree with that. But at the same time, it doesn't ruin the Force. It's just an extra item.
It does because
I know, it takes away the spirituality
mystery,
of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like faith. It's having faith
Yeah.
in what it is.
You still need faith. It still activates this connection that throughout the whole universe. It's just that's how your
okay,
body
fine.
uses
Well, let's
that.
fast forward to the
This
new.
is
the
the
new
whole
movies.
this is the argument
Yeah.
right here. What you guys are talking about is the argument of
Right.
these midichlorians.
But also, like, no one in the new movies were tested for midichlorian count. Like, the whole idea
Well,
that if
because
if she was a Jedi, she could move
Well,
rocks. Why don't we test her?
Because everyone fucking hates
So-
it. So why bring it back?
So,
You don't need it.
so several times in Star Wars. So I think one thing, even though the new ones are Disney and not Lucas, I think that whoever's in charge of Star Wars has taken fan backlash to an extent. So Jar Jar Binks is in a ton of this movie, and as these movies go along, he's in less and less because people hated him. People hated him. We talked about the actor wanted to fucking kill himself. People hated that character. Rose Tico, people hated in The Last Jedi. She's got like 4 lines in the movie.
Well, I know what you're. That's more about the directors.
But midichlorians, I think people were so puzzled by his inclusion that not only it was never in a movie again.
Right. Okay.
Right? Am I right? It was
You
never
are right.
touched on
Yeah,
again.
they never. Not even in the prequels.
No.
Not even really in the. Now it's called legacy content. But anything moving forward after 1999, they were just like, yeah, that did not go over.
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, we're scrapping that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, did you have a feeling about it? Would you rather not know, right?
No, I didn't need the midichlorians.
There's no need for you to know. You don't need
No.
it. You already believe in the Force.
Right.
You don't need to be told what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. I understand what he was going with, but you don't need
It's a
him.
device to tell you that he's the one.
Right.
This prophecy that was only said in one or two lines. You know, like it's not like the Matrix when it's like, all he talks about is the one, and the whole movie is about finding the one. He says one or two lines, and then 10 minutes later, he's the one. Like it's just it's lip service, and the midichlorians is just to validate lip service. Sorry.
Butler's like, friendship over. It's over. That's it. And the worst part is, like, you go back and tell your fiance, it's like, well, me and Mike aren't doing the show anymore. We're not even friends.
I got a new podcast,
this is like
Forgotten Friendships.
This is like every episode would feel.
But
It's
what
like-
I was going to say was like, what
like
happened?
that.
What was it over? It's like midi-chlorians. And she's like, I don't think I want to marry you anymore. And then we got weird things going on here. All right, so at this point, we got the pod race. We don't have the amount of time to talk about the pod race.
I will say this. I fell asleep during
It's like 9 minutes long.
I love the
I
pod
fell
race.
asleep.
I think the
Pod
pod
race
race is actually a pretty good
It's
sequence.
very
It's the
cool.
best part of the scene.
And I
It's
will
too
say
long,
this.
but it's very cool.
It's too long, but I will say this, man. I don't know if this movie won any Oscars, but the sound editing and stuff was great, and that's like the motor, the engines, the blah 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 blah, all that stuff was fantastic. Now there was one bit, and I just wanted to ask this because, again, I haven't seen this movie in a long time, and I've probably seen it 4 times fully ever. But there was one bit that just like completely was out of my head. When one of his cables disattaches and he uses a magnet to grab it, was that always in this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
I completely am like, oh, it's just like a different... Because I'm watching it on Disney Plus, and I don't know if these are like the prequels or the original movies where they might have added stuff to it.
They might have still added
He
stuff.
could have just
right?
used the
I
Force.
don't think anything is kind of
Well, he didn't know that.
His midichlorians.
He didn't,
he
he didn't
should
know
have.
that at the time.
He should have shot his midichlorian
Yeah.
out of his hand, and they should have grabbed it. Like the Green
Look,
Lantern.
midichlorians.
Master Qui-Gon.
To answer your question about the Academy Awards, it didn't win.
Nothing.
No, they were nominated in Best Sound Effect Editing, Best Visual Effects, and Best Sound, all of which went to The Matrix.
Nice, because that's an awesome movie.
It is a good one.
Yeah.
They won a Razzie.
Right.
Did the Phantom Menace win like the worst picture? Or?
Ahmed best one. Best worst supporting actor.
you didn't want to say that out loud, did you?
No, I'm fine.
and the Grammy that year went to A Bug's Life.
Nice.
By
Bug's Life is a great
Randy
movie.
Newman. Yeah.
Bug's Life is a great movie.
The Phantom Menace has one of the best John Williams soundtracks.
Absolutely.
That's a shame.
Okay.
The
Duel of
Darth
the
Maul,
Fates.
so yeah.
Duel of the Fates.
Duel
That's
of
the
Fates,
only song it has.
Qui-Gon's funeral is great. The
Uh-huh.
Anakin theme song where it's very upbeat and it's at the end.
Yeah.
And we haven't gotten there yet, but the Augie's Municipal Band at the very end is actually the Emperor's theme in a major chord sped up. If you play it slowly and in the minor chord, it's actually the Emperor's theme song because the
But why
Emperor
is that?
wins.
But it's not. But then that's not an original score. He just reused it.
Oh, come on. Fuck you, dude. Come on.
I do like the fact that when we get to the end of the movie, and again, it's not spoiling anything, but when Palpatine has been voted as the new Chancellor, like his guards look like the royal guards, except they're wearing blue and their faces are open.
Yeah, he's already started it.
There's already a ton of things, like that whole scene at the end where where they're having the celebration. And he comes out. He's such a smirking douchebag because he got his way. He, like, if you see the way he's all smiles. And,
Yeah.
and like, I'll be paying attention to you, young Skywalker. It's like, man, this guy's a fucking cretin.
Well, do you think
Even
that
though
was his whole plan the whole time?
I
The
think-
way it ended up?
I think he didn't want them to win, but either way, he had it set up that
He just wanted to be
he's-
chancellor.
He was going to be
he's
chancellor
winning no matter what. Yeah.
Right. Right.
He wanted the Trade Federation to win, but because they didn't win, now he's a martyr, and he's like, "Oh, you're such a hero," and he wanted the martyr route, but he's still so fucking great that it's like, I'm gonna become emperor.
It all works out for this fucking guy. In the
It
end.
works out.
So we're on Tatooine pod race. That all ends, and Annie gets freed. That's part of the deal. Unfortunately, this is another part I have a problem with: is that why can't they just like take fucking his mother with them? Like,
I know that's ridiculous.
You're Jedi, and it's not like you're stealing. She's a slave. That's wrong. So it's like, you know what? Fuck it. She's not a slave anymore. She's coming with me.
That's right.
Who owned her?
Watto.
Watto.
Kill him.
I never understood why there was nothing.
That might be a problem for a Jedi.
I never understood why there was nothing on the ship that they could use to barter the mom back. And if Amidala, creepy or not, loved Anakin or cared for Anakin, that she didn't have anything that Watto might have wanted. Like when Obi-Wan's talking about buying the hyperdrive engine, he's talking about like the Queen's cloaks, all this other stuff. That's not enough to buy
When we're done with
A
the ship,
retail sales associate?
When we're done with the ship, I'll send it back to you. You can have it's a fucking chrome ship. It's awesome.
It is awesome.
You can't bring the
ship is
mom. The
dope.
mom's got to die so he can go back.
I get story reasons you got to keep it there.
Complete story reasons, because as I'm watching it last night, I'm going, work on. Even though I know this movie, I'm like, work a deal out for the mom. Like Qui-Gon, be a man. Say, because at one point he's like,
push it a little further.
Be a man, dude. Like he's like, I'm not here to free the slaves. Like, no, it's free one, motherfucker, and that's how we start things. You know what I mean?
But not only that, but I got a boy that was 9 years old once. There's no way in hell he would have ever left his mother willingly.
Yeah.
He was quick.
No
to
way.
go. Quick to go. Yeah.
Don't look back. Don't look back.
Yeah, and then we get
Annie, are you okay?
Are
you okay, Annie?
Are you okay, Annie? And then we get the weirdness too of, we talk about midichlorians, the fact that suddenly this is where the Jesus parallels. He's a fucking virgin birth. The midichlorians.
Oh, yeah, right. I forgot
he's
about
a
that.
midichlorian birth. Like I had kind of almost forgotten about that when there's the line of who is the father, and there was no father.
There was none.
Like what?
I had always thought that was going to lead into like Palpatine being the father.
Yeah.
I always thought
That makes more
throughout the next
sense.
2 or 3 episodes
makes
would be
way
like that
more
was going to
sense.
be it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Lucas was a little high on himself at that point with the midichlorians and the like, this immaculate
Well, they
birth.
gave him a blank check.
Yeah.
I mean, he said, "I'll come back," and they're like, "All right, whatever you want, whatever you want." And I remember the story, and I think we've talked about this, that he screened this for a bunch of people. He screened it for Spielberg, he screened it for Ron Howard, a bunch of people, and Spielberg said, "Listen, he told him you need to change some stuff," and they did change some stuff, and then Lucas went back and said, "No, we're going to go back to the way I had the original edit." So
Which is
whatever.
fine.
That's
because
fine, too.
it's his story. He
Yeah.
shouldn't be beholden to other people.
No,
going,
I
like,
get
this is how
you.
you
He was
should do it.
he was showing to them looking for
I
feedback.
get that. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Which he used Steven Spielberg a couple times.
I got you.
In like Revenge of the Sith.
I don't think it was
the Obi-Wan Anakin fight and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't
And
think
he's
it
like,
was in any kind of
Really?
like hatred towards Wyatt. Yeah, I think it was just kind of trying to help. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we get we end up seeing Obi-Wan and Anakin meet for the first time, and a nice little moment because we know where that's going.
Although
But-
Obi-Wan doesn't give a fuck.
Obi-Wan certainly doesn't give a fuck, and
He hates it, like,
and it's one of those
whatever.
moments where I also like to just like sometimes when you look at something and you go, man, I wish like when I was like whatever in high school, I wish I could think of the first time I met my first girlfriend, like before I knew everything. And the part with this is funny is like, wow, he's going to cut that kid's legs off one of these days, like in a horrible fashion, and let him burn to death on the shores of Mustafar. So we end up, they go back to at this point Naboo, right? And now right before this happens, Insidious, I'm sorry, Insidious. Well, that's what it is.
Darth Sidious.
Sidious has set upon his apprentice to go find them. And this is truly, I don't care. I know it's the thing that everybody says, but it's true. Darth Maul is the coolest fucking thing that came out of the Phantom Menace.
Oh, absolutely.
It almost seems like he's in a different movie at points. You're like, man, I wish there was 26 more minutes of this guy.
Yep.
They should have had Dooku go kill Qui-Gon and then get killed, and then had Darth Maul do the next two. Like, I knew that old guy would fuck up. Here, go get him, Darth Maul.
Yeah, you gotta wonder. You gotta wonder how Palpatine felt like going from Maul to Dooku. It's like, man, I got this fucking like 1963 mint Corvette, and now it's like a 1987 Dodge Aries K. Like he was really good 56 years ago, and now he's an old guy with 2 lightsabers.
So how come there can only be 2 Sith?
It's just the Sith rule.
Because they're so evil that it's like they can't be
So
together.
then, what is Dooku? What is he doing while they're being 2 Siths?
He's like a really evil dude that wants to be.
Yeah,
a
he's
Sith.
a rogue Jedi.
Yeah.
He's just a rogue Jedi.
He's a
not
rogue
a
Jedi.
Jedi.
okay.
Like 2 and duality is a huge theme in this whole movie.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So it just goes along with that theme as well.
Yeah, and the Jedi are like the Jedi love that rule. They're like, we can, you know what? We'll have 1,000. Fuck it. We'll always be able to beat them because they only have 2.
Well,
Yeah.
that's their hubris too. It's like.
Yeah, but when he's like, there hasn't been a Sith for a millennia, so it's like, okay, but then in that same scene, Yoda's like talks about how don't be anger or fear because it's going to lead to the dark side. It's like, well, if there hasn't been a Sith in the millennia, why are you telling him that story?
There's a difference between in Star Wars lore. There's a difference between the dark side and the Sith. Like you can be a bad Jedi,
Sure.
but you're not quite tapping into that super messed up evil. You might be greedy or mad or use some hatred, but you're not quite.
So you can be
Palpatine's level messed up, like Hitler level.
You can
messed up,
still be a
basically.
Jedi and be on the dark side.
Right, you're
Luke
just being a
Skywalker.
greedy Jedi.
Luke Skywalker, that was
Chokes out that fucking Gamorrean.
well, like you said in the legacy stuff. Luke ends up, going down the path that we see in the Last Jedi.
The after the return stuff.
After return stuff, there's a whole bunch of stuff in the books and everything where Luke is always straddling the line of trying to keep it in. Is that because Vader was his father? Is that because he's inherently maybe and that was one of the things I did like in the Last Jedi was that they touched on that. Was that like, you know what, he came this close to fucking taking out Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
He didn't do it, but like they touched upon that Luke that we knew. We didn't see it in the movies though, but you could be a Jedi and still kind of like straddle that line a little bit. They do it a lot in the comics, in the Marvel comic stuff too. They do for Star Wars. So
I'm glad someone else is getting that nerd thing going right now.
Oh yeah,
I feel like I was personally attacked before, and now I got some back.
Oh no, I'll be attacking you in a few minutes.
That's fine. I got that one little ray of sunshine. That's all I needed.
So Darth Maul attacks Qui-Gon as he's trying to get back to the ship. Pretty cool, quick fight. First time we get to see Darth Maul. He is dressed very hot for a desert. He's in full fucking robe and black.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even take his hood off.
When he touched down at night, it was cool, it was super cold probably. So he was cool with that.
One of those camera droids he has was like, "Sir, would you like to wear your shorts?" He's like, "No, it's very cool. It's very cool right now."
Roger.
But tomorrow it's going to be. He's like, "Shut up!" And then he's like, "Fuck, I'm sweating everywhere." I should have listened to him.
Maybe that's why he loses that fight. He just gives up, going, "It's too fucking hot. I'll fight you later."
He's like, "You know what? I'll see you
Darth
in Naboo."
Maul doesn't wear shorts.
I'll see you in Naboo, man.
Temperate weather.
Temperate weather. Naboo is so nice this time of year. This Tatooine is a shithole. So they get back.
There's sand. It's everywhere.
Yeah. I hate it. I hate it so much. I killed them all, including the younglings. So they go back.
You, Anakin. Oh, that's hot. Tell me again.
They go back. Yeah, really. Yeah, it gets weird. They go back to Naboo, and now the whole. This is the last scene. We're going to end up getting what? We're going to get the battle and
Yep.
And as per usual in Star Wars, it's going to be told on 3 different fronts. So I'm going to go to each one of you. What are the 3 fronts of battle we're going to have here? We're going to have
what? We skipped Coruscant. We skipped Coruscant.
He was asleep at this point.
Coruscant. Yeah. I forgot all about Coruscant. We go back to Coruscant. We go to the Jedi Council, and the Council basically says that they've got bad feelings about this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might be the chosen one, but no.
Yeah.
It's like Coruscant's got to be dirty, right? Like that's a planet of it's a city planet.
It's a city planet.
It's just all city.
How filthy must that be?
Well,
Yeah.
It's probably like bad on the lower levels, and then as you get higher, it's fine. It's like
come on.
It's
I
the
think
layer
they just
cake.
got cleaner droids going around, cleaning the whole place up.
It was the first time
like
we've seen
street
Coruscant.
sweeper droids, stuff like that.
You're probably not using fossil fuels to
No.
pilot your driving car, so you're probably all right.
Yeah, it is too much city. Like,
Yeah.
I almost
all
wish they would
city.
say, like, one continent's a city. It's like, no, the whole fucking
The
planet.
whole planet.
Yeah, I'll see. I'm gonna meet you on 3rd and 5th. Which one?
Yeah, really.
I'm going to meet you on 300,425 3rd and 5th, but also with the y-axis, it's going to be N98.
Like, I hate going to Coruscant. Why? It's a fucking planet-sized city.
It's like Boston times a million.
Yeah.
You think they build at least a square, but no.
Yeah, no, the roads are all fucked up.
If you can make it there, no one will know. There's too many people.
Yeah. If you can make it there, fuck you. It's Coruscant.
It's all roundabouts.
Oh my god. Oh. Yeah, when they fly over Coruscant and you could see like all the lights and everything, that I hadn't seen this movie on. I'm like, oh fuck, Coruscant's a city planet. And and then he goes, Coruscant, the whole planet's a city. I'm like, oh fuck, this place is the worst. It's like, why do you know where to land? You're right. It's like, it's too big. It's too big. But so yeah, they figure out that this kid's a little off. Yoda and Mace Windu are like, I don't know about that. I don't know if you could train him or not. Qui-Gon's still kind of being douchey about the whole thing. Like, I think I can do whatever the fuck I want.
I'll train him.
You guys chill out. And he's basically giving up.
Yeah,
Obi-Wan's like...
He's ready to get the fuck out of here.
Obi-Wan's like, I'm ready, but like I still like hanging with you.
Do you think like the Obi-Wan character is just kind of, in this movie, is just there? This is the Obi-Wan character. There's nothing really given to him in terms of meatiness, in terms of his character, until the second and third
Second
one.
and third.
Well, I think he's a good boy. So like he doesn't really speak up. He doesn't really say anything. And that's
Well, he's
like
mostly
showing,
an apprentice
who he is.
until...
Yeah.
He's an apprentice, and honestly, in this one, he's for lack of a better term, he's an action guy.
Yeah.
He's swinging the lightsaber around, stabbing droids behind the back, and he has the big fight at the end. And I think that's what you're supposed to. I think this movie is almost like you're supposed to see that side of Obi-Wan that you didn't know existed.
Yeah.
Because up until this point, you've only seen him once in a movie, twice as a ghost. and he's an old guy.
And they talk about how he's such a great warrior.
Right, he's this great warrior,
It's like
great pilot, great warrior, and now you see it.
I like when Darth Maul's on the other side of the force field, and he's like kind of like jumping up and down, like he's getting ready for battle.
Let's get to that. Yeah. That scene. I love that scene with the inclusion of Duel of the Fates too, which is just awesome. So so they're on Coruscant for a while, and Amidala at that point comes out and says, "I fooled you guys, right?" And I think that's what she tells everybody.
No, she doesn't.
That later?
She revealed when they go to
the boss nass on
when they find the underwater city,
right, to get them to fight with them.
To gain their
Right, so they go to the underwater city, they get the Gungans to fight with them, and that's the whole last...
I'm begging.
Yeah, that's the whole last section. So now I'll go. What were the 3 phases of battle that we're going to see here?
Well, they're going to have the one where the Gungans are going to go into the middle of the field, put a force field around them, and then fight the droids.
Draw the droids away from the city.
Right, because why am I breaking this? Because the Jedi...
You're just supposed to name one of the 3
Oh, that's go.
Yeah.
Because he's a Star Wars guy.
Oh, no, I'm going to get to him.
So that's one of them, to draw them away.
Okay, Lloyd, what's another one?
that's the one I was going for. I forgot.
Sorry.
That's about where I fall asleep.
These 3 things are happening at the same time.
Yeah, I forget what's
you mentioned another one.
The Darth Maul.
Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, and
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And then finally we have...
I mean, that's still the main front is also Padme and Panaka going after the...
that's all kind of one, and then the last one is the space battle.
It's the space battle. They need to take out the droid control ship so not every Gungan gets murdered.
Right.
The Gungans are a distraction, but they don't want them all to die, so they got to take out that.
Right.
Which, I mean, if they went... I mean, is it really a big deal?
Well, I mean, I'm sure that's what...
And Boss Nass did say, we'll do our part, because they said
there are casualties
That's
in war.
probably what Amidala's thinking. It's a win-win.
Quick, get on your knees. Everyone beg, get on your knees. It's going to be fine. Don't worry. It's going to be fine.
Get rid of these dumb fucks once and for all.
We're going to send them out in the field to fight the droids. There's going to be less of them. We're going to win, and then we won't have to deal with their shit that much longer.
This whole planet will be ours. And that underwater city I want to live in.
Do you notice they're all dudes, by the way? We've never heard a female Gungan speak at any point, or at least we don't know.
There's that Lucas again.
You know Jar Jar is a dude?
I don't know.
Is he?
I don't know. Maybe he's not.
They never put a pronoun on Jar Jar.
You're right.
Interesting.
You're right.
I like how you're forward thinking.
So Anakin ends up haphazardly in a Naboo starfighter.
He's so wizard at it,
and he's so wizard.
I'm trying.
He ends up.
I have to say that Naboo starfighter is pretty sweet.
It is cool.
I think all the Naboo,
all the
like
ships
that 50
are really nice. Yeah.
Which I like that difference in style of like once the Empire takes over, everything gets kind of shit and run down.
And run down.
And before that, things were beautiful and nice, and like things were great.
Yeah, it goes from that's one of the things I do like about at the very least the Phantom Menace compared to the original trilogy is that the Phantom Menace feels like this sleek new universe, and the newer trilogy, and then even beyond, feels like this rundown. You know what I mean? Like dirty, older. I like the fact that when you start going through from Phantom Menace through Revenge of the Sith, you see early versions of the ships we know.
Yeah, everything evolves.
You see everything evolving into, you're like, oh, the clone army ends up becoming the stormtroopers, and the Jedi ships look like TIE fighters, and then they become TIE fighters, and everything kind of goes that way. But yeah, the Naboo, he ends up in the Naboo starfighter with R2, and they go up and they go to destroy the shield generator, but
accidentally destroys it.
Yeah,
by flying through the shields, right?
Yeah. He
explain that to me.
He flies. Yeah, he does fly through the shield, and then he accidentally blows up from those explosions are coming from the inside, and it's like, oh, it's one of ours, and then that comes out, the thing shaking around.
Oh, he says, you know what? They say yippee way too much in this movie.
There's 3 yippee.
Yippee! Yeah, there's a lot of yippieing going on.
Yeah.
The best bit of this whole thing is from the moment. I again, do I love this movie? No, it has moments. When the doors open and Darth Maul's there, and Qui-Gon will handle this. I fucking love that. I love the fact too that like they kind of know it's going to take 2 of them after that first fight, and then that whole battle, straight up to me, period, the best lightsaber fight that they've ever had in a Star Wars movie.
Well, then like you think, okay, it's 2 against 1. Oh, they're going to win, and then he activates that second blade, which you've never seen before, and it's he's going to take both of them on at once.
Yeah.
Now the second blade, I remember seeing the trailer when they did that, because when the trailer came out,
that was a big part.
And
of
they showed it, like everybody in the theater creamed their shorts.
No, yeah.
Here was the problem I had with that. Since that day, now that was a truly cool advancement in lightsabers, right? So we've only seen regular lightsabers. Right. Now we have a double-ended one. From that point forward, they've done what was the name? Grievous has like 9
Oh, right.
It's spinning them around.
Well, he's not a real Jedi. He's just collecting dead guys.
No, but what I mean is like they were like, oh, we had a double bladed one. Now we've got the guy with 9.
Yeah.
In the new one, it's only that one scene, but like Rey has that like switchblade one.
Well, it's a double bladed, but it snaps back.
But like it's stupid. You know what I mean?
They
Like
barely use it. It's just
it's
a toy idea.
It's a toy.
Well, then Kylo has the ones with the
crossguard.
Kylo's I didn't mind as much because Kylo's I felt like it's supposed to be like it's shitty and homemade.
Yeah.
Like it's
just ready to fucking explode at any moment.
He went on forums and was like, "This is how you build a lightsaber." All right.
It always looks like there's wires hanging out of it. It just doesn't look safe.
And he would burn his hand half the time.
Oh yeah.
Why did I put it like this?
Damn it! Why did I put that there? What I think is a great scene that also at the same time is a terrible scene when the doors pop up. What are those doors for? Those energy doors.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Except to seperate them at a really dramatic moment in the fight.
They are able to recognize midichlorian counts, and they can separate you by how high your count is.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, I get that. I love the fact that the doors separate Obi-Wan from Qui-Gon.
Yep.
And we get the great moment where Qui-Gon gets killed. Right, Qui-Gon takes the double-bladed lightsaber through the stomach. And then I really do, this is the part I really do like, Qui-Gon meditating when he's waiting for the door to open, gets killed, and then the disparity between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. So Obi-Wan's a kid, and he's pacing and staring him down, and he just wants to fight. And one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie, and it's like there's moments in movies that are just like one moment that you love, is when the doors start to open and he goes right at him. It's the movements he makes, and Maul is is testing the door, and then their whole fight, like that whole really quick fight is incredible. And I don't know, I'm not going to spoil it, but do you watch Star Wars Rebels?
I've seen parts. I want to watch the whole thing, but I know what happens in Star Wars Rebels.
Okay,
I've spoiled it.
I don't know what happens, but I know that a certain character.
Well, let's just put it this way: we know that Darth Maul comes back, right?
Yeah.
You know that from
He's in
the end of Solo. You know
he's
that,
in Solo,
and he's almost certainly going to be in Obi-Wan.
Well, you get your last ever Maul Obi-Wan moment in Rebels,
right?
It's fucking awesome because it's the solar opposite or the polar opposite of what happens here. This is like this drawn out fight, and then this next one, it's like that. It's so good, it's so well done, and it's the characters as they're older and they're different. It's a really great.
I look for it. I'm watching Rebels.
Rebels is if you have not watched Rebels, if you out there listening have not watched Rebels, and you're not really a fan of the newer movies, and you miss really really good Star Wars, this is really good Star Wars.
Is Clone Wars previous to Rebels?
Yes, Clone Wars is by the same people. I didn't care about Clone Wars as much. I watched bits of it because it was kind of tied into all this stuff, and I'm not so much into the prequels.
Yeah. So you don't really need Clone Wars to watch Rebels.
No, Rebels is about different.
There is a lot of Darth Maul stuff in Clone Wars.
Yes, Darth Maul comes back in Clone Wars. You find out that he did. Darth Maul gets cut in half in this.
Those are the best parts of the Clone. I don't care for the Clone Wars show that much because I think it's a little cheesier. But the Darth Maul stuff is actually really interesting and kind of dark and cool.
It's way dark because he's gone crazy.
And Sam Witwer is awesome as the voice of Darth Maul.
Sam Witwer is a fucking Star Wars all-star for voice acting.
He
and
loves
stuff.
it so much. That you could tell he puts a lot of care into it.
That's a great dude.
I like this moment between the three of us is like this is how I feel. This is how I feel when you guys talk sports and I'm just sitting there like
I can relate.
Do you enjoy the final lightsaber battle? Are you into that?
Yeah, I just think with a different director, it probably could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, Lucas is not a good director.
No.
Let's give that. But the thing is, for me, I don't feel like his action directing is bad.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like his this is a guy that has wrung out. Samuel L. Jackson's a really good actor.
Sure.
He's done some great stuff. Natalie Portman's a great actress.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really a fan of hers, but I appreciate her, and I know she was younger then. But Ewan McGregor comes away pretty untouched, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys agree.
I agree.
He's all.
Well, I think it'd be interesting to find out what did Ewan McGregor bring to the character in this movie. Like you talk about the jumping and all that stuff that he's waiting to fight. Like that might be him,
right?
Do you really think Lucas is giving him that note?
No, I think I don't know, but from stuff I've kind of heard from actors, Lucas is just kind of like more and faster.
Yeah.
Faster. Hit this mark faster.
So So that goes to what you're trying to do. Like the whole Padme stuff with Natalie Portman, she talks in that voice. And I don't understand.
Michael Field.
Yes. I don't get that.
Understand what you're saying.
It's almost half British, but not quite half British.
But she talks in it when she's Padme at one point when they're getting the guns and stuff like that, and they're gonna.
That is why we cannot fail.
I don't understand. I just don't get the voice. I don't get why the voice is there, and I don't think that's. I'm not blaming her. I think that's the direction.
I think George Lucas is a great storyteller, but I think even he realized after he made A New Hope, back then just Star Wars, that when he went to Empire and he went to Return of the Jedi, I needed somebody to help me write this.
Right.
And then he went, I don't want to direct it.
Well,
and when Phantom Menace, he wanted Spielberg to just do it. And he's like, please, Steven, do this movie. And Steven was like, no, George, this is your movie.
Well,
and
the crazy
like,
part is he could have gotten so many other people. He, I know that. I know that he made Star Wars and then he handed it off to Irving Kershner and Lawrence Kasdan and then Richard Marquand and Kasdan again, right? And what was his name?
When he did Return of the Jedi, he wanted to do Spielberg. Spielberg said no. Try to give it to Lynch or Fincher.
Lynch.
I think Lynch, yeah. But then by then he was kicked out of the Directors Guild, so he had to get the no-name guy.
Right.
And then he's put into a spot because he certainly didn't want to direct it.
But so at that point he recognized he needed help. 16 years later, why didn't he recognize it again?
Well, he still tried to get Spielberg for Menace and said no, and then he was probably like,
"There's other people." I mean, I get it. I'm not arguing it, but it's like you would think, okay, I can't get Spielberg, but like, because he did all three of those movies, and I think a huge part of all three of those movies is the fact that he directed them.
It's also
they're so fucking wooden. The acting is so wooden in some of the bits in this.
It's probably hubris at that point. He admits that he became the Emperor. He admits that in Empire of Dreams, he talks at the end. Is his whole speech at the end where it's like, I did a whole trilogy about movies about someone becoming so big that they become evil and protected, so overprotective, and in the end, I kind of became that character. And that's like one of his last lines in that documentary, which you haven't. If you haven't seen it, it's on the Blu-ray collection, the DVD collection, but now it's also on Disney+.
It's on Disney Plus, yeah.
Empire of Dreams is a fantastic look at things, and George Lucas is pretty honest about.
Is that after he sold it to Disney? He says
no,
that?
This is before.
So that's probably why he sold it to Disney.
Yeah, this is a Lucas at a retrospective of like he finished everything at this point, and like he recognizes he's not a great dialogue writer, and that he became this person who just cares about merch and stuff like that. They live on the planet, the moons of something, I believe.
Some of the lines I actually cringed. Are you an angel? I just went, ugh. And then the worst part is she got hot with it. She's like,
oh yeah.
She's like, who is this fucking 9-year-old?
Do you remember like 5 years ago when you called me an angel?
Yeah.
Say it again.
Your planet is very warm, Anakin. A little too warm for my taste.
I said to my wife, because I know she kind of gets the storyline, but like as I'm watching this, she's kind of like half watching. And that scene came on, and I said, you know what's cool about this kid? I said, he's gonna get up in that puss. He's like, give me a couple of years. Give me a couple of years.
Now, maybe that's why they probably didn't have the mom.
My balls will drop.
they probably didn't have the rescue the mom because she'd be like,
She'd report her.
You're not going with her.
Yeah.
No.
I'm getting social service.
Annie, I'm calling social services now, Annie. This is disgusting. So, well, in the end, Qui-Gon dies. The Republic of Naboo wins. Senator Palpatine ends up becoming Chancellor Palpatine.
Yep.
So the Phantom Menace, that's him, by the way, has started digging in, and we have very much an ending like Star Wars. The Gungans and the heroes celebrate. We get the music and the whole 9 yards, and boom, we are out of Phantom Menace. Is there anything we missed that you wanted to particularly cover? Any moments? Any trivia? Was there anything that I did not bring up in our travels through this movie?
Greg Proops plays the pod racer announcer, which I always love.
Yep. Yeah, he's one half, right? He's the English-speaking half.
He's the English, then you got the alien half. He's also the voice of the announcer in the pod racer video game, too, which... say what you about this movie. The Racer game is one of the best Star Wars video games of all time. Like, that game is awesome.
This was a $115 million budget, which is incredible, because it seems like it should be a lot more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of effects. This is obviously
I feel like that's because it's all in-house.
Yeah,
it's all his company.
Yeah, his company. It was filmed between June 26, 1997 and September 30th of 97. Filmed in Italy. Most of the Naboo scenes were filmed in Italy. Tunisia, much like the original Star Wars, that stood in for Tatooine. And most of the set work was done in England. In the end, this movie made $1.3 billion. Now, what pushed it to $1.3 billion
Re-release.
was the re-release in February of 2012, which was a failure in that helped
in 3D.
In 3D, but they didn't release the next two.
Right.
And that was, I think, right around the time Disney was buying them. Right? Am I correct?
It was a little bit before, but yeah.
Disney's the one that put the squash on that,
That must
right?
have been the push that got him.
Right.
So, like, George did that, and then Disney was probably like, all right, we'll buy it.
Yeah. And that's an amazing thing to think about, the fact that it made. I didn't write down what it made at that point. I don't know if you have that.
$924 million.
So it made $924 million, and this is a movie that 13 years earlier everybody hated.
Yeah.
So people were either
they were going to go to it.
People were going to go to it. I didn't go to it myself. Did you go see it?
I went to it at our theater, in a public showtime.
Well, wait,
Are we talking about the 3D re-release?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to our largest theater the day it came out.
Oh wait, I want to correct something real quick. The movie made $924
Worldwide.
before the re-release.
Yeah.
So even the re-release still made a good chunk of money.
I was in a sold out show in our largest auditorium. It's like back before we had the recliners. So that's like 300.
That's right. That's right. Because we had that idiot complain.
Yeah, it was like a huge. It was in a huge auditorium and it still sold out. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Say what you will about Phantom Menace, but these 300 people with me are all right with it.
Fun fact.
Yippee!
The customers that complain the most about the image on the screen are Star Wars customers.
Really?
They complain about the audio. They complain about the visual. They complain about everything.
Really?
We want these nerd viewers. You leave them alone.
No, they complain. The Star Wars people are kind of the worst.
Really?
Yeah, they complain.
Don't Shatner the fans.
I'm just saying. You know it.
You are Shatnering our group.
Yeah.
Our
you know
viewer
it.
Base.
Yeah, they were coming out of the IMAX. It's too loud. Oh, the kids are too loud.
The worst viewers are the seniors, and they don't listen to podcasts. So screw them. If you are 67 and up, you are the worst.
Whoa! Holy!
That's right. That's right.
Hold on. That is a Mike Butler take. That is not a Mike Field take.
Listen, the Mike Field take on nerds is worse than the Mike.
I don't know if you know this or not, but Pint Comics, our number one demographic is 67 and up.
We ain't getting nothing from this one. On to the next, Mike.
We apologize for Butler's views on the geriatric here at Pint Comics. Lloyd, why don't you give us all the weekend? Give us that weekend. I bet you it was number one.
Yeah. It was. It broke the Lost World Jurassic Park record for the largest single day gross, making over $28 million in the opening day.
That's probably nothing now.
Yeah, right.
I know.
And the fastest to gross $100 million in 5 days. Also the fastest to 200 and 300 million marks.
It's not still that way though, right?
No,
this was at the time.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine it would be.
It's got to be Endgame, right?
Yeah, Endgame's got it. Like they probably made it in a day or 2 days.
Yep. So that weekend, number 6 was The Prince of Egypt. Number 5 was, John will get a kick out of this one, Patch Adams.
Oh, fuck that movie.
We have a special reason for hating that movie.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Number 4, Saving Private Ryan.
Great.
Which was
wasn't that from the summer before?
I'm trying to see where the weeks are. It goes by days on this one. 300 days.
Yeah,
for that one.
That movie. That was one of the last movies I would say that played that long.
Number 3 was The Matrix that week, 50 days. Number 2 was The Mummy, and number 1 was Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah, The Mummy came out like a week before, I think, or 2 weeks before.
Yeah, The Mummy was early May.
Early May, yeah. Yeah, we love The Mummy here. We discussed, I think it ended up, it was on Sir John, our other host, his top 5 of 99. He absolutely loves that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah. My number 199, my number...
on that?
Huh?
Did I have Mummy on mine?
I think Mummy was on one of yours for sure.
Then it was mine. It was definitely not on that guy's.
No, I don't mind them. Steven Summers, I can take or leave with him.
Well, yeah, he made Van Helsing, right?
Yeah.
That was like stepping in.
Go save Van Helsing.
He made G.I. Joe.
He also, I did like, what's the one where it's Treat Williams in the cruise
Deep Rising.
Deep Rising, I don't
good.
mind.
Oh, yeah, Deep Rising.
I just bought the
we got
Kino
that.
Lorber special edition.
Yeah, me too.
I don't mind that, but Van Helsing's garbage.
Yeah.
See, I wanted to put Deep Rising on the list, and you said
No,
we
I
have to
did.
put Deep
Put it
Rising
on there.
Deep Rising was 19... Oh,
I'm going to have to watch that
For
again.
just it's a forgotten
Oh,
cinema.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic movie.
Van Helsing is absolute
Van
garbage.
Helsing is a shit show.
No, absolutely, yeah.
And it was right at the point where...
Sorry, Hugh Jackman.
It was right at the point where Jackman was really taking off.
Well, I get why you do the movie because, like my wife doesn't like Ben Affleck, which and he didn't like because in Armageddon, and I'm like, because he was doing all these movies. I'm like, but you do that movie when that was when he was huge and he was like Good Will Hunting and he's getting all these movies. You don't say no to that. You do it.
Hey Ben, you want a new house?
Huge movie.
Yeah, you do that movie.
Not to mention, it's Armageddon. I dig Armageddon. I mean,
I like Armageddon.
I get it. It's a Michael Bay movie.
It's even got a cry-worthy moment.
There you go.
My wife, when we were first dating, I took her to see that in the drive-in at Southington when it was still operational. And I remember it for 2 major reasons. Number 1, I think I've brought this up before. We pulled in and we're getting ready to watch the movie. A car pulls in next to us. And after sitting there, the window lets down in the car next to us.
Yeah.
And we just look over because you hear the window and you look over. And a little girl comes popping out and barfs all over the fucking place. And then the second part was my wife cried like her fucking head off.
Yeah.
At the whole scene where Bruce
With
Willis
Bruce
and her
and Liv
talking.
Tyler.
Yeah. Like fucking decimated.
Yeah.
Like that. Like that whole thing. Yeah.
Wrap your fist around it. Open up ketchup bottles.
What's that?
When he's talking about They're talking about putting the bomb inside the asteroid, and Billy Bob Thornton talking about the firecracker in the hand.
Yeah. The size of Texas, sir.
Honey, I know I told you I was going to come back, but I'm going to have to break that. That's the first time someone that I noticed as a kid in a PG-13 movie used the word fuck in like a PG-13 movie.
As long as
but
you
Billy Bob
don't-
Thornton,
as long as you don't-
you're making the wrong choice, and
you
you
can only use it
fucking know
once.
it.
One time.
And it can't be used
It can't
sexually.
be sexually.
Yeah.
Can't,
It can't be like, I'm going to fuck you or something like that.
Right.
It just has to be fuck.
Okay, just
Yeah.
fuck. Straight up fuck.
Yeah.
I thought it was twice. Oh, that's great. Thank you
Once.
for
No problem.
Thank you for informing me on that. Okay, so
I'm
real-
sure it'll be twice
Do you
soon.
want the top 10 for that year?
yeah, give us top
We have
10.
talked about it on
Yeah.
another one, but I'll just go quick. 10, Blair Witch. Number 9, Runaway Bride. 8, The Mummy. Number 7, Big Daddy.
Oh, you like the Big Daddy? I'm your daddy now.
Number 6, Tarzan. 5, The Matrix. 4, Toy Story 2. 3, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. Number 2, The Sixth Sense. And number 1, Phantom Menace.
Look at that! Look at that! At least 9 out of 10 movies we do for the Invitational are like don't even make the top 10.
Yeah.
So you're one of the
Number
few that
one.
brought in a number 1 movie.
The only number 1 so far.
I think there was one other one we had that was like a bigger movie. I can't remember what it was, but there was one other one that like did well. But everything
Was
else
it Midnight Madness?
it certainly was not.
No.
It was not Midnight Madness.
I think Midnight Madness might have been the last on that list that year.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Pretty sure it was
I'm all right with
close.
that. I'm all right with that.
And now for the lowest grossing movie of 1980, and it's going to cause all kinds of problems for Disney in the future. Midnight Madness. All right, Butler, give us real quick your scale of 1 to 5. Again, 0 is an option. I don't think that's happening for you.
Not at all.
What do you give the Phantom Menace?
Do not give this a 5.
I'm gonna have to give this. I'm gonna judge this based on when I saw it at 12 years old. I'm gonna give this a 4.
A 4. All right, that's fair. Lloyd, what do you give it?
It's kind of tough for me. 2.75.
2.75. Field?
I'll give it a 2.5.
2.5. I will go with you and say 2.75.
Yeah.
This is better than I remember. I still think it's the best of those 3 movies. I don't think it's as I think it kind of does the same thing as The Force Awakens, where it does have a pattern similar to Star Wars, where we meet the hero and all this stuff happens. But I feel like there's a more originality to this one. Force Awakens it bothers me because it's just such a retread
Of Star Wars,
It's such a retread, and the characters. I don't like Rey. I don't like most of the characters in these new movies. At the very least, in this one, I get my Obi-Wan. I get Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon's a great character.
Qui-Gon is a really good character.
We only get him that one time.
Cut down too soon.
Yeah,
Well, this movie,
Too little
this
Qui-Gon.
the new trilogy is playing off of characters
Right.
whereas the newer trilogy is playing off of your remembrance of Star Wars,
Right.
but you have to fall in love with new characters now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, your new trilogy is going through probably equations and a lot of math and like 8,000.
The AI bot that Warner Brothers
is going to start using.
Yeah.
Whereas
See that?
the
What's that?
original,
No.
Warner Brothers is going to use an AI bot to determine their storylines and their movies and what's going to be successful and how they're going to create their movies.
You take a pitch and you give it to the AI, and
the
it
AI
determines
it.
what do you think. What
This
they think
is
the cost of
Skynet.
the movie is.
Yeah,
What
pretty
they
much.
think
This
the
is how
audience
Skynet-
participation is
Okay.
going to be.
Yeah. Well, I
that's
guess
not right.
they've been doing like spreadsheets and stuff like that, but this is more advanced.
No,
Kinda
it's
like
going to be
Watson
100%.
kind
Now
of thing.
no
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So July 3rd,
That's scary.
2025
Yeah, really.
is when
That's
Skynet
pretty
goes
scary.
active.
Hold on. This is not boding well for the future of mankind.
Well, if movies are manufactured now, they're not. Very few movies come from a creative, space. They come from more of a manufactured space now.
2025, the AI has read too many bad scripts. It decided to attack with both Russian and American nuclear weapons. It wanted to wipe us out. It couldn't take another retread of a Marvel picture.
So I wrote this coming-of-age story that takes place in 1960s Brooklyn.
Here, let me feed Avengers 12 through this reader.
So, okay, Forgotten Cinema. Check these guys out again. Butler, give everybody your social media information.
All right, you can find our episodes and find our links to our social medias at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com. If you wanted to go directly to our social media links, it is at Forgotten Cinema Pod at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
And thank you so much for bringing this to the Invitational. We had a good time talking about it.
Thank
and
you.
I'll give you one more bump there. You said earlier today, and I've heard it on your show as well, you have at least, one or two other podcasts you do?
I do, one podcast I do that's kind of on hold. It's going to start again, well, probably by the time this airs, like late February. I'm gonna go to PAX East. It's a video game podcast called Two Player Bros. I do with my brother Alex. I might be looking into having other people join me as well. But we talk about all things video game related, Xbox, PlayStation, VR, PC. I got everything because I'm a giant fucking nerd, whatever. I play it all, we review it all, we talk about previews and stuff like that, what's going on, what interests us, and hopefully we'll do more independent stuff. The hope is that would grow when we do more indie stuff. And then I've got Crack One Open that I do with my fiance Elise, where we crack open a different beer every week. We talk about the brewery, the style of beer, the art, and what goes into making the bottle, what goes into making the beer, where the beer came from historically, because a lot of beers nowadays are newer to us, but actually come from something a long time ago, because after Prohibition we did boring shit for a long time, and now we're getting back into beers that existed a long time ago that we call new now but aren't. So we talk about the history of those beers, and then after we don't talk about that, we talk about the latest in pop culture news and reviews, what's on Hulu, Netflix, more up-to-date stuff, whereas me and Field talk more about the history of movies and what was great back in the day or what's great that people forgot. We talk about what's more coming out now in the zeitgeist.
Okay, and Field, what do you guys have? So this is Forgotten Cinema February. A couple weeks in February we're going to be playing these episodes. So in February, what do we have to look forward to from you guys? What movies are you checking out?
So we're going to be doing Ghost Town, the Ricky Gervais movie.
Okay, yeah.
Directed by David Koepp. We're doing Meet Joe Black.
I've never seen that.
Really?
Brad Pitt one, yeah.
If you watch it, make sure you watch the 3-hour version.
Okay.
That's the original version. The version that you see on TV, the 2.5, is cut down, so you don't want to see that.
Okay.
We're also going to be doing 3 Days at the Condor.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Robert Redford.
Yes, very good movie. Butler had never seen it, so that was one of the reasons.
I have seen it now.
Yeah. And then we're going to wrap up February with Constantine.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I'm a big Hellblazer fan from the comics, and that is one of the worst adapted comic movies, but it's still a good movie.
Yeah.
We talk about that on the podcast.
It's not even remotely right to the comic.
But we talk about, like, the feel is kind of the same. Like,
the feel is the
don't
same
give
to
a shit
extent.
attitude. Yeah.
But that's one of the ones, like, I've seen other ones where, man, they really screwed that up and I can't get over it. And that one is like, I can take that on its own. You know what I mean? Like, if I just look at it as a movie about this character and divorce it from the comic, I could do that. So, all right, so check them out. And Lloyd, why don't you do the thing that you do best, better than me, better than anybody else in the world, and get us away from another week of Pint of Comics.
Let me get my pants back on. See ya.
See ya.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.